Niranam Hotel. Niranam Hotel. Are we almost there, honey? My wife asked. So I teased her with a joke, but she didn't answer back. Let the silence do its job. My wife saw my big smile. She hurried to wait for me to go to school. See for yourself, it's not that bad. We've both been driving together for 7 hours. It's been a very long journey, just to escape from those realities. Chashildan Hotel is the destination. This hotel is located in the middle of beautiful nature, far from people's homes, and it's deep in the mountains, surrounded by real nature. What's the name of this hotel? Alice asked. I don't know. I think it's a Scandinavian word. I don't know what it means either, really. How did you find this hotel? Good question, because I've never been here before until I saw the brochure on the table at home. It was already there, or it might have been attached to a letter. Or maybe there was a stranger who gave me this brochure. When I was walking by the road, I'm not sure either. Well, I saw it was published in a brochure. When I looked at it, I saw that the promotion was interesting. Those are all the answers I can answer. I sat quietly while driving. There were some complaints when I felt lost. It's a waste of finding the right path on a deserted road. As for Alice, she's still a great person, which she tends to create a better atmosphere. Throughout our relationship, I've never seen a smile disappear from her face. And are you ready to tell her what happened? Alice asked. I put my face instead of the answer, even though it's been a year. But I'm still uncomfortable when I have to stay at home. So I think going out, it would help me forget the reality that I have to face, which now I know that I can't express it to anyone. Let's have fun with the holiday. Alice nodded before she went back to look at the side view. 5 hours later, we both found that we are driving on a curved road that goes around the mountain, even though the road condition is very bad. But the view that appeared below, I saw a picture of a village that was lined up all over the place. It's not a little bit beautiful? After driving for a long time, the picture of Chashildan Hotel also appeared in the eye of the mountain, brought us both out of breath. One day we finally got to the end of the road. The structure of the building is beautiful, and the OR looks believable. The hotel is located in the middle of a green tree, which is surrounded by trees. Make the building stand out many more times, and even though the design looks old, but the building is still well maintained. Great! The hotel that you are seeing now. Is it consistent with the picture in the mystery brochure? Alice asked. I looked around quickly before trying to confirm it's correct, so this is a good start. On the balcony that stretched out of the building, there are a number of elderly people enjoying the view. Some are drinking tea, some are sitting comfortably smoking. They dress up in a fancy dress and a fancy suit, which is very different from a normal place like this. While I was pulling my stuff out of the car, I just noticed that there was a big bag in the car. Only one. Darling, where is your stuff? I asked. Come on, he doesn't need to use much. Alice laughed. Anyway, the hotel must have everything to use. You put your stuff in his bag, didn't you? I asked while I was being pulled out of the car. In front of the large entrance door, there is a sign saying, Chashildan Hotel. Service room since 1886, when we both walked through the door, so I met the room at the DOR. He was fascinated by the image of the building outside. The area inside the room was divided into 2 parts. Is the part of the restaurant and the reception area, which it was arranged in an orderly fashion. I looked at the bar that was decorated well. In front of the bar counter, it turned out to be 2 women, drinking black with strange-looking drinks. It was clear that they were not people in the area. Hello. I booked a room through the name of Alex Hansen. I told the man who was standing behind the counter. The man dressed well, suitable for a 50-year-old man, with a red uniform wearing a bow tie, ready to send a big smile. But it does not match the simple design. But look at the modernity of this hotel. Mr. Hansen. Hello, my name is Arasa Winchester. Welcome both of you to our Chashilden Hotel. He greeted me politely, before waving his hand to invite us to walk straight to the double staircase, which is located in front of us, and let me take you both up to see the room. We have set up a room with a view of the mountains for both of you. On the way to the room, we walked through a group of guests who had come to stay before. They look weak and strange, just walking around the lobby, and they still don't seem to fit in the longest place. Maybe it's because of the clothes they're wearing, and it looks ancient. It has been in fashion for many decades, and most of them are elderly, but there are also a few who seem to be just children. There is one who looks like he has just come out of the woods. The other seems to have escaped from a 50s movie. Can I ask you something? Sure, Mr. Hansen, I have a duty to ask for help. Why are those people dressed like that? Don't worry, some of the guests have been staying here for a long time, so we look at them as family members rather than guests, who come to serve our hotel. How? They are not dangerous. I can guarantee the answer to that is not exactly the right question. Winchester took us to the room that he had prepared. The room looks wider than I thought. The decoration looks beautiful. It goes well with the dress. There is also a chocolate bar on top of the pillow. Everything looks complete as it should be. It's a good start to the trip. I hurriedly washed my face and eyes. I used the equipment that the hotel had prepared for me before I left the room and went down to dinner. Don't you take things out of the bag first? Alice asked at the same time as I was about to walk straight to the door. No, she'll do it later. We looked straight ahead to the hotel's dining room. When we got there, we found that it was still the employee named Winchester, standing while welcoming guests at the entrance. Would you like a glass table? She asked with a smile. When we turned our faces to the table, she walked straight to the glass table. At that moment, we could clearly see the view of the forest. Would you like a drink? She asked. Alice looked at me. I knew what she wanted to order. It may sound a little hasty, but would you mind explaining it to us? Alice asked. Sure, I'll bring it to you. When she finished speaking, my wife looked a little surprised at the answer. Wow, I didn't think or dream that they would know this kind of cocktail. This kind of drink is our favorite drink, and it's a city drink that we used to drink when we went on our honeymoon in Brazil. A few minutes later, she brought the drink to serve. It looks like the one we used to drink at the famous Fernando G. Noronha. Even the glass used to serve as the same shape as it was at that time. We raised the cocktail glass and clinked it loudly. The memory of the past when we used to go on a honeymoon together. Just the taste of it can bring back memories of the past. This is great. She hasn't drunk this drink ever since. I stopped talking. Something in me told me to stop talking, which I couldn't tell what it was. Honey, look at that man, Alice said, who was sitting on a chair with his eyebrows curled up. That man looked tense. The ghost was smoking like crazy. He was in the middle of a turntable. The smell of cigarette smoke was all over the dining room. His smell was starting to annoy me a little bit. Hey, can you help me not to smoke in here? I asked him politely, trying to hide his annoyance under his smiley face. Why? Is it annoying you? Well, isn't it unhealthy to sit and smoke in the building? Unhealthy? Since when? He asked back, along with rubbing the cigarette butt on the smoking area. Then I have to apologize. I didn't mean to bother you at all. He turned his face back to read his documents, and we both came back to finish eating. After eating, I and Alice went to the bar for a drink, but that man was still sitting still at the table. He was whispering something to himself in silence, with a glass of whiskey in his mouth and a piece of cotton that wasn't pointed at his mouth. He didn't forget to pick up the document and read it. His posture indicated that he had long eyes for sure. I felt guilty, at least, for forcing him to smoke. If the hotel didn't have a rule prohibiting smokers from smoking in the building, And who am I to have the right to prohibit him? Maybe it's because of the alcohol I just drank. So I dared to go in and talk to that strange man. And Alice asked to wash her face and eyes in the bathroom. You can smoke. I told her, I'm fine. I just realized that the hotel didn't have any rules prohibiting it. She seemed hesitant for a while, before deciding to pick up a vintage lighter and light a cigarette. Thank you. And what brought you two here? She asked. I just want to take a break, to escape from reality for a while. I answered, what about you? When the unit told me to take a break, to rest my body a little. I looked at the document that came out of FEM. It seems that you don't quite believe the order. I said to her, the murderers didn't stop. To be honest, I myself don't quite believe the order of the dictator. If he wants me to stay away from this place, I will do it. But I wouldn't feel good if I gave up on this case. Oh, are you a detective? She didn't want to admit it. Yes, it's been 25 years. And you? I'm a journalist. I answered according to the document, before being corrected that. At least it used to be. She laughed. As a detective, I would like to assume that you would be willing to resign. I looked at the document that had coffee stains on it, and those papers were still wrinkled from being read by many people. This case has nothing to do with this hotel, right? I asked. No, don't worry, I may be too attached to this case to look like a professional, but she sighed before closing the front of the document and slowly put those papers in the envelope before saying, but I still can't solve the case tonight. Justice may have to wait a little longer. I wish you a good night. When she finished, she got up and walked away. At first, I hadn't noticed that there was a piece of paper on the table. Until she walked out of the lobby, I guess it must be because of drunkenness. So she accidentally dropped the paper when she closed the envelope. I picked up that piece of paper. I didn't really mean to look at the content of it, because I knew it would be a little disrespectful, but my eyes went to see the date it was recorded on the paper. It turned out to be January 7th, 1978. It looks like that detective is solving the case that happened 40 years ago. Although I'm a little disappointed, I still don't want to get involved in the problem. So I took that piece of paper to the reception decanter. I just hope it will go back to the right owner. Alice and I felt a little dizzy from the alcohol, so we decided to go back to the room and rest in the room. But on the way back to the room, we heard a woman sobbing. It was loud and loud all the way to the hallway that was left on fire. Since that area is a closed area, the sobbing was so loud that the camera was reflected all over the area. It's hard to tell where the source of the sound came from. Honey, do you hear that voice? Alice asked. Is that the sound of someone crying? We should go check it out. By the nature of Alice, she is a very kind person and too kind to waste. But the intention to help anyone who needs help is the reason why I fell in love with her. We walked along the hallway until we finally met a girl who was sitting on a chair in front of the window. She kept crying, her face down and her hands not far away. The clothes she was wearing looked wet and slippery. Honey, are you okay? Alice asked in a confused tone, but she kept crying. What happened to you? Are you hurt anywhere? I'm cold. She kept sobbing. Her voice sounded hoarse, as if her lungs were full of water. I hurriedly took off my jacket before handing it over to the girl. Finally, she let her face out of her hand and turned to look at us both. I was so scared that my legs almost fell to the ground because the picture I saw in front of me was too scary to describe. Her face was so small that it was almost not a human face. The first time I saw that girl's face, it looked like her face had been hit by someone hard. Her eyelids were swollen, her nostrils were broken and twisted to look distorted. Please help me. I'm cold. The strange thing is that the scar on her face didn't bleed at all. She was just sobbing, almost heartbroken. God help me, I screamed out loud. Because of the shock of the image I saw in front of me, the fear caught my heart all over my body. Before we could do the right thing, a Winchester suddenly appeared. He pulled the car straight in along the sidewalk, along with 2 other bellboys. "Winchester, we have to call the ambulance right now." I was shocked. "You don't have to." Winchester replied that nothing serious had happened. He ordered the bellboy to carry the injured girl before he pointed his gun at us both and told us to follow him this way. When he finished, he took us to his office. He invited us to sit down before he poured us a drink. There was no smile on his face again. He looked very embarrassed by the previous incident. "I'm sorry that you have to see something like that. We didn't expect that kind of horror to appear that night." "What are you talking about? I don't think so. What happened to that girl?" "Well, we don't know for sure, Mr. Hansen, but I assure you that we will do our best to help her and find out why she showed up like that." He seemed very sad about what happened. He also seemed to be worried about the safety of that girl. And with the drunkenness that we are experiencing right now, we can't get out of the car right away. The best thing we can do right now is to wait. Wait until it's morning, and then ask for help from that detective again. Although I and Alice have just experienced a lot of horror for a while, we can easily get back to sleep. There is no dream to disturb sleep even a little. There will be only the chirping of various birds, chirping in the middle of nature in the early morning. We both feel like we're sleeping. My wife went to lock herself in the bathroom and sang along with the shower, and even though she didn't know the whole song, she tried her best to follow the water. Although it may not sound like horror, but I love everything about her, as if there was no one at all. While she was dressing up, I decided to go down to the lobby for a while to find out what happened to that girl. Winchester must still be waiting for the guests, who came to stay at the reception table, with a smile to greet him as usual. "Good morning, Mr. Hansen. Good morning, and it's about last night. Would you like to know anything more about that girl?" He nodded his head at me with a smile. "Oh, she's fine, but she's still a little shocked. She'll get better in a moment." Before I could ask the next question, I glanced to see that the same detective was having breakfast in the dining room. I think he might have helped me with some questions, so I decided to walk straight to him and tell him the story that happened last night. I hope at least he can give me some answers. When he saw me walking up close, he quickly waved at me and posed to invite me to join him. "Thank you for the document yesterday. Drinking whiskey while working would not be appropriate. My name is Harold Finn." He waved at me and waved at me. If I had known, I would have been played for sure. He still carried the same stamp with him. The angle of view of a piece of paper protruding out of the stamp made me see the day of the year 1978. Written on the front of that piece of paper. This time, the desire to know and see according to human instinct can no longer be restrained, so I tried to ask him as much as possible. "Excuse me, I happened to see the day on that piece of paper." "The day?" he asked in confusion. "Yes. It seems that this case has been going on for a long time. Do you mind if I ask why you are so interested in it? Has it been a long time? I know that we have been investigating this case for a while, but we still can't close this case. But this case has been going on since 1978. But it has only been a few months. And how strange is it? I can't speak at all. I can't speak at all. I can only stand still and look like a man who should have lost his mind right in front. Because my heart still has a lot of questions for Ai to ask. But those questions were swallowed up first. When I saw Alice, my wife, walked into the dining room. "Here it is. Let's go find something to eat," she said. I let this detective sit alone as usual. Before telling Alice that I had just found something, she scolded those strangers. And she also met the girl from yesterday. These stories made the atmosphere look uncomfortable. After I and Alice consulted for a long time, we decided to make a short break. Although at first Alice disagreed with me, but in the end, she agreed with me. after I raised various reasons to talk to her. According to what happened at this Chashildin hotel, some people are warning me that there must be a serious danger from now on. We hurried back to pack our bags, to prepare to leave this hotel immediately, without even telling the receptionist. On the way out of the hotel, my eyes stopped at the group of old women that I saw on the first day I arrived. They were still drinking tea as usual, but the difference from the first time is, I saw a woman bleeding from both eyes, including her nose and ears. And the other woman sitting next to each other, she had white skin that matched the paper. But they were still laughing and enjoyed drinking tea together, telling that nothing unusual had happened. When I opened my eyes, the picture in front of me returned to normal. "But do you see that?" I asked Alice. "What do you see?" Fearing that I would lose my mind more than this, so I didn't say anything else. "Hurry to put the bag in the car and start the car immediately." But if the engine doesn't work, I didn't start the car. Confused, I walked out and opened the bonnet in front of the car before I found that the engine was destroyed inside. Unable to repair, and it wasn't just cut off or anything like that. But the condition of the engine at this time, it's broken to the point where there's no good piece. Telling that someone knocked it down and broke it, it seems that there will be an obstacle for us to be stuck here. When I thought that there was a bad guy at this hotel, so I decided to call the police, but the fact that this hotel is located deep in the mountains, which makes this place a signal shelter. What the hell is going on here? I was so confused, even if I was secretly afraid to stay deep. "You go tell the receptionist to call the mechanic for us." He was sure that they had a hotel phone for us to borrow, Alice said calmly. "I don't trust them now, but with no other choice left, so I had to walk to ask for help from them. And as usual, Winchester is still standing at the reception table. When I told him, he seemed to be very sympathetic to us that we had to come across this, and seemed to be a little worried that these things happened to us, which he himself did not hesitate at all to reach out to help us. He asked us to stand on the phone without hesitation, and so I called a taxi to pick us up from here. But unfortunately, due to the long distance of this hotel, so they can't send a car to pick us up today. But he said he would pick us up tomorrow." I breathed out in disappointment and pressed the phone to put the line down. But with disappointment, this face was replaced by shock when my eyes pushed to see the same girl who just got a bruise last night. She was sitting in the lobby wearing the same clothes as yesterday, but this time it looks as clean as new. Even the bruise on her face has disappeared. We never had a bruise before. That's right. Oh yeah, she is the pitiful girl from yesterday, but now she is fine, Winchester said. But her face is very dirty. And those bruises, how could it be? I stammered and didn't understand. I turned to look at Alice, but she didn't look bad at all. "Should I go talk to her?" Alice asked. We both walked in to see the girl, before leaning down to sit next to her, which she didn't even know about us because she only looked at her eyes to read a book. "Hello?" I said a gentle hello. "Ah, it's you," she said with a smile. "I'm sorry about yesterday, that I'm not myself. I don't understand what happened to her and why did she recover so fast?" She thought for a while. She was trying to figure out what happened to her. The girl who looked pitiful yesterday was gone. Only the girl who lived in a peaceful world. "Well, I don't really remember what happened. All I remember is that I was driving on the side of the road in order to get home after spending all day traveling in the city. Then suddenly I saw an animal. It stopped on the side of the road. It must be a dog. So I tried to avoid it, but I couldn't control the car, so the car slid off the road. And the car slowly slid into the water, which the water temperature at that time was quite cold, and the car still plunged into the water very quickly. I didn't even think of anything. "And how did she get out of the car?" I asked. She thought for a while, trying to find the right answer. "Well, I think, I don't, if she couldn't get out in time. Why did she come here? Because Before she could finish her sentence, Winchester returned to the interlocutor. "Mr. Hansen, can I talk to you?" he asked politely as usual, before he pulled his hair to hide in a corner, which his face now looks very serious. "Don't you think that poor girl has been through a lot in the past 24 hours? Let her spend time with herself. She will be satisfied with the fate that she has to meet." "What do you mean? Satisfied with what? Are you saying that you still can't figure it out? Look around, Mr. Hansen, and tell me what you see." When he finished his sentence, I felt a slight numbness that covered my eyes. But when I looked at that girl again, various wounds on her body reappeared in my eyes again. And no matter how much her face is swollen, or even if the cartilage and the arm is broken into pieces, she would still be reading her book in silence. So I turned to look at the other guest in the lobby. He wore a fancy suit, and on his skull there was a bullet hole in it, and I shook my head. Done in 4.0 minutes 48 seconds. Subtitle is in the outputs folder. I looked into the dining room where the student was sitting. He was still reading the old documents as usual, but his jacket shirt was all wet. There was a drop of blood coming out of the shirt, which looks like he didn't even notice it. I put my head down and closed my eyes. But when I opened my eyes, the image of everyone in front of me looked normal. They look like ordinary people. Their bodies are in perfect condition, but now I know the truth about them. They are dead. "Yes, but you don't have to say it out loud," Winchester whispered. "And you?" "No, I'm not dead yet. I'm different from them, but that's not important right now. The most important thing right now is you're the only one who's been here since this hotel opened. I can only stand still and say nothing, like I'm waiting to hear the sentence from his mouth. But deep inside, I know he's telling the truth. Everyone in this hotel is dead, in different times, but why are their souls wandering in this hotel? I can't find the answer at all. The only question I want to ask you is, would you like to help us?" Winchester asked. "Help? How?" "The reason they're still wandering around here, it's because they don't want to admit that they're dead. Some people have just died for a long time, but some people may be hard to accept. What we can do is take care of them to stay here comfortably. Actually, I want to help them get rid of themselves, but I'm limited by some rules. What I'm trying to say is that I can't communicate with outsiders. I can't contact other people in the world. But you're an exception. The thoughts are all over my head. Of course, I'm willing to help, but some of me still can't believe it. Or I still don't understand the situation that has just been discovered after I've been in silence for a long time. What I asked after that is, how can I help them? Why don't you go talk to them? You'll figure it out," Winchester replied. I did what he said, starting with that detective. I'm sure the answer I want is in that document, but I can't ask him directly, so I have to use a dirty method. I offered to treat him to whiskey before I asked him to talk about anything. After he drank all that whiskey, I said I would treat him to another glass, and another glass, and another glass before I went to the bathroom, and I got a chance to peek at the information in that document. The information in the document. It turns out that he is investigating the case of a serial killer. His name is Lawrence Harrison. He has been declared a serial killer since 1975 until 1978. One of the victims of this serial killer is his detective friend. When I got this information, I used a hotel phone to call an old colleague. I asked him to send me a message from a magazine related to this case. This job is very easy because of the connection I used to have from my old job. New Winchester. I can't use my mobile phone anymore. Mr. Hansen, now you are in another dimension. The hotel phone is the only exception, and that's the only way we can lure you here. To do this job for you? Did you lure me here? It's not that anyone can happen to come here. We have 2 to 3 people who want our help. In the real world, and how can we get your attention? How can we lure you to this hotel? Why me? I asked. His smile disappeared for a while before he answered. The answer to that question. I'm waiting for you to find out for yourself after just one call. The job after this is very easy. This is the news about the case that has already been sold to show that detective. So that murderer is dead? The detective asked. I nodded in response. He was arrested in December 1978, and he died in prison in 1980, according to the report. The detective named Harold Finn is the one who sold this case. Until the day he saw the monster was interrogated on the 3rd floor. 1980. But that year it was, the detective asked in a low voice. I noticed that his face had changed clearly when he learned the truth from his face that looked tense all the time. Now it's starting to relax, I think. It's time for me to check out of this hotel, the detective said. The next person I have to deal with is that girl. I let Harold talk to her, in case I can comfort her more. It turned out that she had run away from home since she was 15 years old, which she still feels very guilty about this. The night of the incident was the day she decided that I would go back to my parents for the first time in 5 years. At the time, she had an accident. The car slid off the road. The injury was not the cause of her death, but because her car sank into the water, which at that time she was in a state, confused from the injury until she couldn't get out of the car in time, and the area where the accident happened. No one passed by, so no one saw the incident and could help her. What she wants us to do is to send a message to her parents, and please help me, the girl said. We all have to decide our own path of life. I believe that her parents will not be angry with her for what happened. They love her and will always love her, Alice said. Alice and the girl talked for a while, and not long after, the girl saw that it was time for her to check out of this hotel and move on. There are still many guests in this hotel who are still wandering around here. Alice and I work together as a team, but in order to find a way to help them get out of here, we need to ask for help from Winchester. Do you have any other suggestions? I guess you should know these guests better than we do, I asked. He nodded. My suggestion is very simple. I just want you to accept the truth. What? He just looked at me instead, but his eyes were full of pity. It's time, he said. No, I can't do it. I sighed. I know he's right, but I can't deny that I haven't accepted it for years. I turned to look at Alice. Now her body looks weak, and it looks painful from fighting the cancer that has eaten her for years. Please, I sighed. I think it's time for you two to talk about this, Winchester said. But nothing came out of our mouths. Not a single word. When we got to the room, it was Alice who spoke out to destroy this silence. You've been with him for too long. Let him go. He just doesn't know how to live without you. He knows that we've been through a lot together. You've been so attached to him that you don't want to live just because he's dead. But you haven't gone anywhere. It's only been a year since, I whispered. He doesn't understand why you're still here. We don't have anything against each other. Alice sighed. Just because he's dead doesn't mean he knows everything, but he's sure there's something that he can't let go of. Just like this hotel, and that takes care of those who are still worried, while they're looking for answers, and you and him. Can't you be with him like this? Alice nodded. Why? Because he's happy that he's spent enough time with himself, and the answer is true, but it's me who doesn't accept it. Even though the time we spent together was short, but we both spent it together happily. The most happiness, he said. This hotel would like him to help him accept the truth. That he is actually a person, Alice said. And what kind of person? What kind of special person? He knew that he still didn't understand what he was talking about. But when the time came, he would understand. This hotel is a very suitable place for you. You will be able to help others to let go so that they can move on to face their new journey. And will we meet again? I asked sadly. Of course, when your time comes, Alice replied with a smile. Many hours later, we spent time talking and sharing all the stories we had come across together. I reached out to hug Alice in my arms. Then she kissed me. She apologized for the car. She just wanted herself to stay here, Alice said. Is that your own skill? Alice shook her head. Not long after, we both fell asleep in each other's arms. And even though I myself could not accept that she had left this world, but I now can accept that it is a fact that cannot be changed. When I opened my eyes, Alice had left me, gone forever, never to return, not even the story of the heartless, or any kind of relationship between the two of us. And I learned after that she was still around me because she wanted to help me live on. What she had left was just a piece of paper, which she wrote with a good word. Help them meet the light, my love. After I lost my life forever, I decided that I had to start a new life. That morning I hurried to get dressed and went down to the hotel lobby before I met Winchester, who still smiled at me when he saw me walking in to meet him at the reception table alone. He didn't have to say anything. I knew what he was going to ask of me. He gave me a chance to contact my family and friends abroad for the last time, which I told them to upload these stories for others to know. After a while, Winchester asked me the last question. Mr. Hansen, are you ready to start working? And this is the whole story of Niranjan Hotel in the jungle. Have you ever felt like this? When you have to go back to the place you used to be and to meet the people you used to be. But in the era when the COVID-19 pandemic broke out, makes everything around you not the same again. This is a very painful thing to think about. We have to accept and learn to be with it so that life can continue. I would like to warn you that this is a story that I have listened to again. What I'm going to tell you next is the story of a senior who got a boyfriend in an area of the Northeast. At that time, it was a time when the COVID-19 was spreading so heavily that there was a reason for him to isolate himself until he encountered an unforgettable experience. I have brought the story I have heard to be supplemented with a summary. I hope you will enjoy this story a little bit. Mr. Nut or Thitnut had been a monk for many years. He was a monk at Wat Pa. Later, he retired to live all over the world. He worked as an employee and drove a car to send the monks between the station and the province. Soon after, he met a girl, and they continued to date until they agreed to live together. The two of them decided to return to live in the house of the father and mother of the woman, whose house is located in a suburb near the temple. The temple is a forest that has a surrounding, like the temple where Mr. Nut used to be ordained. Before the area of the temple became a forest, there used to be an office there before. But today, that office has been abandoned for unknown reasons. Once Mr. Nut went to inspect the office. Inside that area, there was a broken chair and chair. He used to have the idea of making a lot of merit, by making merit for the villagers to earn money to make merit. But due to his work, he had to put this matter aside. Next, Mr. Nut chose to move to rent a house in the city because it was more convenient to work. The girl chose to stay with her parents because she didn't want to be quarantined during the outbreak. As the COVID-19 situation worsened, the number of people in the community decreased and the income decreased. When the economy was down, Mr. Nut decided to move back to his parents' house in order to reduce the cost of living. And I'm almost in the village. What do I have to do? Have you arrived? Yeah, I'm almost there. I'll drive you to the community hall. There will be an officer waiting for you. He will suggest where you will be quarantined. When Mr. Nutt drove to the village, he met a man who sent a full PPE set to wait for visitors, and that man is the mayor of this community, who is probably the same age as him. The mayor told him to quarantine himself for 14 days. According to the current public health situation, Mr. Nutt was not surprised at all. He agreed to cooperate only for the good, for the comfort of other villagers, even though he was going to inject all the vaccines. As for the quarantine area, Mr. Nutt asked the mayor that he wanted to use the temple area for quarantine because he saw that the temple had a large area and the kuti was still vacant, since there were only the abbot and the temple boy living together, only 2 people. But the mayor refused because he had already arranged a quarantine location as a place near the forest. Knowing that Mr. Nutt had been ordained at Wat Pa before, he would not be afraid of the location. Mr. Nutt thought that since he would have a chance to spread the discipline, he asked to use the area in the forest voluntarily, because he wanted to make merit for himself. But the mayor refused his request again. Standing in the middle of the hill to park in front of the forest would be the best. Mr. Nutt then drove on the mayor's bicycle from Konplet Road to Rukrang Road, far from the community. Both sides are full of bushes. The car of the couple stopped in front of the entrance to the forest. The mayor pointed to the signboard and told him to park the car in this area and walk a little further into the forest. We'll find the path leading to the signboard that he had to use for quarantine. Mr. Nutt understood the reason why the mayor refused. He did not allow him to use the temple in the forest area for a good quarantine, because he was afraid that Mr. Nutt would not be able to live from the slander of the villagers that the temple and the forest area are quite scary. In the past, there were both monks and lay people who were countlessly deceived by ghosts. Some people do not dare to pass the temple at night, which is different from what Mr. Nutt has learned by himself. He used to go into meditation, as well as stay overnight in the temple before. And he has never encountered anything scary, according to those claims, even once. Once he went to explore the forest area, found that there was a cemetery, as well as other buildings such as salas and kutas that are now partially destroyed from time to time. He used to ask for advice from the abbot, that he would like to make merit with his relatives and to make merit for the Kraton, in order to bring the heart to make merit, with the intention of making 1,000 boxes of merit, 500 baht per box, because it is expected to use about 560,000 baht per building. But the abbot refused first, because he saw that during the COVID situation, this project had to be halted first. The area of the forest is about 20 rows, covered with rubber trees and palm trees. Each tree is as large as 2 people. Even in the middle of the day, this forest will be quiet until dusk, and how scary it will be at night. But not with Mr. Nutt, who used to be a monk before. I used to live in Wat Pa before. Churng Takorn, which is a place where the Salila meeting is located in the middle of the courtyard. Next, there is a small path on both sides of the road. Mr. Nutt parked his car on the side of the road before he was about to walk. To the front of the temple, he met a temple boy named Ko, a 14-year-old boy. They used to be close during the time they came to practice voluntarily. Ko slowly took Mr. Nutt to walk around the forest. Through Churng Takorn, met a small path on both sides of the road, along with a cement pipe standing in a straight line all the way, or the villagers in the area call this the Hill of Corpses. The villagers in the area believe that if there are people who have lost their lives from accidents or death, who have not lost their lives from illness, I will not chant the chant immediately, but will chant the mantra before about 3 nights. After that, I will keep the body for 3 years. In the Hill of Corpses, I haven't been to this house for a long time. I probably don't know that here. There used to be a monk. No matter how many pictures there are, I can't live. If you change your mind, you can lock yourself in the temple. I will ask for permission from my father. Ko stood up and pointed his finger at Tien Na, which is located in the middle of the green hill. There is a fence dividing the forest area with the hill. A wooden bridge was built. Mr. Nut didn't answer. He just waved his hand and told Ko to go back. He didn't say anything. He had to stay away from people according to the social distancing regulations. The stubbornness or laziness of the Thai monks did not have any effect on him, because when he was ordained at Wat Pa, where it was still scary, he still lived in many temples. When he walked to Thiang Na, his condition did not look good. He only thought that the hall in the monastery in the forest was stronger than Thiang Na, which looked solid. It seemed to be broken and not broken. So he decided to change the place to sleep temporarily. He thought that tomorrow he would talk to the elders again about changing the place to lock himself up. And I have arrived at the accommodation. The voice of the person at the end of the line seemed to be weak. She sighed with a heartache. It's good. Hurry to the accommodation before dark. I'm worried about the elders. It's even more scary around there. He talked on the phone for a while to relieve his loneliness. After that, he hurriedly walked along the path to the back of the hall, which looked like he was inside a log cabin. It was a garden hall without a roof, with all four sides open. The back hall was just a hall where the monks sent food and made a temple. Kuti was sitting deep into the forest. The cool sun was bright enough to see the back of Kuti lying on his shoulders. The leaves fell on the floor of the hall. The dust was stuck to the surface of the skin. He must have exerted a little effort to clean it. The electrical equipment he had probably couldn't be used, because this hall had been cut off for a long time. If he wanted to continue the fire during this time, it would not be convenient. He thought that when it was night, he would light the fire or turn on the flashlight. When he was done cleaning the hall, he made a tent and set up all the equipment in the garden. Kuti thought of the time when he was still a monk, who had to do morning meditation and sitting meditation. The time was not very cold. When he set up a place to sleep, there was still a lot of time left, so he didn't go out to sweep the outside floor, and used it as a walking area. The condition of the floor was not very pleasant, because when he finished sweeping the leaves and dust, he would often see the remains of dead people that had been buried for decades, and he didn't think it was strange at all. Thinking back to the time when he was a monk, the villagers had to bring the bodies to be buried in the forest. Therefore, the temple and the forest could not be separated. At that time, he had a thought. He remembered the first time he came to this village. At that time, there was an old man who told him that in the past, this forest used to be a village. But after the plague, people died in the village. The monks who came to live had to love peace and had to practice serious meditation to be able to live. When he thought about it, this was probably the reason why the monks could not live, because there was a lot of noise. But he was confident that he had come well. He came to practice meditation and wanted to calm his mind, along with making merit. The monk walked out into the outdoors of the forest. He also looked for a source of water. The river that separates Thungna from the forest has clear water flowing all the time. He intended to come and take a bath here for a while. He chose to stop and rest at the wooden bridge. He saw the surrounding village far away. Some people started to light a fire. Some people played loud music from afar. It made him feel excited and reminded him of his girlfriend. Suddenly, his eyes saw Thiang Na in the same place, in the middle of the green rice field. Looking at it, it's pretty cool. I think I'll go see it again tomorrow. The 14-day quarantine may be divided into 7 days. To rest at Thiang Na to change the atmosphere. When he returned to the monastery, he found a piece of paper hanging on the pole. He remembered that he had never seen this piece of paper before. He thought it was a manual for monks or lay people who came to stay in the monastery, how to behave. He looked through it without thinking. because he had to hurry to pick up the bathing equipment. When he finished washing his body, he came back to change into a white suit. He lit a candle and chanted. It was already dark. What's going on? There's no phone signal. There's no internet either. The monk could only chant, with his head down. The last contact with Anne was at the funeral. Suddenly, there was a strong wind coming in. The forest sounded loud. The leaves of the branches hit each other, as if a large number of people were laughing together. When the wind calmed down, everyone in the forest, the leaves sounded louder. And listened to us with the Nambong Duryang singer, who was driving the ghost caravan. The trees were tall, and each tree looked like a shadow. The branches of the branches covered the night sky and made people look. I couldn't help but imagine that it was a huge monster with his arms stretched out. If a weak person could see it, he would be shocked. Mr. Nutt would still remember to be careful of his mind. This monk in the forest temple used to be the same. When he was in meditation, he had a clear mind, not irritated, not worried before preparing to go to bed. In the tent, it was difficult to close his eyes when it was still dark. Worldly life made him sleep late until he woke up, so he went to look for a book to read. But the light that was lit was not bright enough for the person who was used to the neon light, so he extended his hand to turn on the light from the battery. The light was bright. The monk who was at the end of the temple may have seen it. Unfortunately, when he arrived, he couldn't meet the monk. He thought of a conclusion, that when he was done, there was a person walking around the temple. The sound of his feet stepping on the dry leaves was loud, along with the sound of a crying baby. But when he opened the tent, he stood up and looked back and didn't see anyone. He believed that it was the spirit of the dead, or called the ghost, to ask for merit. Because in the jungle, there must be a dead body buried, the monk told. That when he heard the crying baby crying, he felt like he was getting up, even though he was not afraid of ghosts. But he couldn't explain why he got up. Maybe because he felt that the voice he heard was not the voice of a human, but the voice of a spirit. If he was afraid of ghosts, he wouldn't have volunteered to be buried in the jungle. After he heard a strange voice, he set his mind to pray, and pray for the spirit for about 10 minutes. All the sounds he heard, both the sound of people walking and the sound of a crying baby, were silent. Now it's 10 p.m., but the monk hasn't closed the tent yet, and he's still sitting still, listening to the sounds around him. The cool breeze blows to his body to make him feel cool until his hair stands up. Tonight is a full moon night. He told me that. When he was walking in the jungle, he encountered something new from the smell of rotten smell, like the smell of a dead body floating on his nose. The smell was still around and followed him to the Kuti stairs, until one night, it was a full moon night, the monk stopped walking. In front of Kuti, while he was walking, he saw the smell of a dead body floating on his nose. At this time, the smell was more smelly than usual. When he walked to the end of the path, while turning back when he looked at the end of the path. Of the other side, he saw something standing in front of him. It looked like a human body, taller than a meter, but his arms and legs were still moving. At that time, he asked his relatives to cut the branches and small trees to make way for him to walk around there for many days. But then what appeared in front of him raised his hand with his left arm and right arm with the smell of rotten smell that made him open his eyes. "Hey, why are you coming? Go back first," he told that. He saw it clearly, because that night was a full moon night. When he was conscious, he hurriedly walked up the stairs to Kuti, opened the door to the room, and locked Kuti. He sat and smelled the rotten smell for a while, and the smell slowly disappeared. He felt suspicious that tonight he would have to face A similar event to what? He had heard. He didn't want an answer for sure. Consciousness began to wake up, making it difficult for him to sleep. When he looked at the time, it was just 3:30. Normally, he would go to bed after 4 o'clock. Now that he can't sleep, he chose to take the flashlight to walk around the hall. He saw a shadow of people walking around in a circle. He would probably come to rescue him, because when he turned his head, he decided to walk to see, in case he met someone he knew, so he could say hello from a distance, because he had to keep a distance. By chance, his eyes met. The same piece of paper attached to the pillar, at the same level as the eyes, that he had seen before when he was conscious. He then walked to pick it up and look at it. It was a message written in a straight pen, with the name of the landlord. He guessed that the landlord would come and hang it when he went on a personal mission in Rimkong. The message was a 14-day detention. That's how he felt, no matter who followed him. If you are in the quarantine period, please read these messages to your heart's content if you want to live for 14 days and follow the rules strictly. 1. Do not go out at night even if someone calls you. Please know that only the staff will come to check on you during the day. 2. If you find this piece of paper after sunset and find yourself in the woods, please know that you are unlucky. You will have to stay in the room until the sun rises. This is for your own safety. 2. Before 10 p.m., you can go on a personal business in the bathroom or walk freely, but you have to stay close to the toilet. 2. If you find that there is something wrong around the toilet, such as the sound of footsteps of people walking or the sound of people talking like they are in the community, please know that it has seen you. 3. If you miss going out of the toilet, whether you intend to or not, the sunlight will help you. Please light up several candles. 4. If you are lost in the thick fog, the person who looks at your wrist will hardly see you, so you will be able to see the light that you have lit up in the toilet. 5. Please carry a flashlight with you all the time in case the candles go out before you walk back. Rule 2.4. If you can't come back to the toilet, look for the toilet of the nearest back office. Let you hide in it, and you will be safe. Stay until the sun of the new day rises and then come back. Rule 3. Please do not trust anyone, whether people, animals, or things, because they will find a way to lure you out of the toilet. Rule 3.1. At night, an old woman will come to look for fish in the cage. If you are still in the toilet, she will see you and come in to ask for a flashlight. You must not hold her hand directly, but do not reject her at all. Otherwise, she will be angry and find a way to get you out of the toilet. Rule 3.2. I suggest you find a long stick or other material, stand up and light a flashlight for her, without telling her that it is a high area and difficult to go down. If she calls for a cigarette under the chair or finds this piece of paper, there will be a stick and a cigarette in it for you to bring to her as usual. Rule 3.4. When she is satisfied with the item, let her speak out, saying, "May the goddess protect the child so that you can turn the enemy into a friend." Rule 4. At 10 p.m. you will hear the sound of a drum beating continuously for 3 minutes. At a tight moment, you must be very careful because they will come to get you. Let you hide in the tent and turn off all the lights so that when they are close, they will not be able to see you and will be lost in search of other corners of the forest instead. Rule 5. Because it is midnight, the sound of the drum will start beating at a tight moment before it will end in 3 minutes. Now is your time to hide. They will look for you all over the forest and will return to the shrine as the last point. Let you hurry out of the shrine and hide in the temple before the sound of the drum stops. Please keep in mind that they can run faster than you, so be careful not to run and do not stop in the middle of the road. Rule 5. When you enter the temple area, you may encounter something scary. They will have the shape of an oil field that has been built, but they will fall down the stairs and make the condition very bad. Let you avoid their eyes and go into the shrine. They will protect you from those who are chasing you into the temple area. Let you hide in there until the sun of the new day rises. Rule 6. If you see the lights floating above the forest or floating on the ground, lucky for you, the whole area will immediately disappear. They will not dare to make a loud noise when they come down to inspect the forest. You will be safe until dawn. Rule 7. There will be a loud noise again before dawn. That noise will be the one to tell you that it's time for them to come looking for you. Congratulations, you are safe. When you finish reading, he feels a little stunned. He just laughed and was worried that it was not suitable for the place. The elders teased him or what? Or is it because he did not follow the order? Looking at the shape and face under the PPE suit, it looks a bit like Uncle Jit, the elder. Earlier, he heard from Anne that Uncle Jit had died in an accident. He himself did not know much about his family background. Guessed that his son would come to search for a position instead. When he turned to look around, what he had just read looked familiar. When he heard the sound of footsteps and the sound of people hugging in front of him. And now there is only 15 minutes left until 4 o'clock. His heart is beating fast. He hurriedly turned to look at the people looking for the forest in the surrounding area, which now that person is walking straight to him, seeing a faint shadow far away. He only prayed to be an old grandmother according to that warning. But what was worrying turned out to be true. The old grandmother with white hair and a turtleneck shirt walked straight in and stood outside the shrine. Her face was full of questions. The old grandmother opened her mouth to ask for a matchstick. He stood next to her and refused. But the old grandmother returned to the garden and said, "Why don't you have it?" and pointed to the floor where the incense and matchsticks were placed. He only thought that the old grandmother was scary, so he had to use the matchstick to tell his grandmother to pick it up. All the time, he only looked at his eyes, trying not to look into his eyes, even though the old grandmother would try to walk up the stairs, both low or looking in order to look into his eyes. But he couldn't do anything because he was outside the shrine. And suddenly his eyes met another piece of paper on the floor. He picked it up and looked at it curiously, because the handprints look very similar. The messages are almost the same. The difference is that the day it was posted on this piece of paper was the last day. Along with the name of the landlord, the paper must have fallen on his face. Make him see the old paper, and this is a very wrong thing. Until Mr. Nut felt goosebumps. When he looked up again, the old grandmother had disappeared. So he hurriedly read the message from the second piece of paper. Anyone who is in the quarantine period, please read these messages to your heart's content if you want to live up to 14 days. And follow the rules strictly from now on. Rule number 1. This piece of paper will be hung at the shrine in Pacha, which is not a quarantine site. Rule number 2. If you find this piece of paper before dusk, please move yourself to the front yard, as agreed. Rule number 2. If you find this piece of paper after sunset and found that you were in the forest, please know that you are unlucky, but it can still be fixed, as long as you don't look down too much. You will see the way out. You have to get out of the forest as soon as possible. This is for your own safety, that you are more and more suspicious. Since each rule is the same and different, there are also some rules that contradict each other. Rule number 2. Before 10 p.m., if you are still in this area, you will find that something unusual happens, such as the sound of footsteps walking. There is a sound of people talking. Similar to being in the community, please know that it sees you. Rule number 2. You will hear the sound of drums beating 3 times. At a tight moment, you have to be very careful, because they will come to you. This is your last chance. Let you turn off all the lights in the hall and find a way out of the forest. Rule number 2.3. If you find that there is fog, a person who can barely see, Of course, you won't be able to see this hall again. Don't be surprised. This is good for you, because they won't be able to see you either. Please don't use the light. And don't scream for help. Let you hide in the forest quietly. You should be careful. Let you avoid the things that have a shield, because they will be waiting for you there. Rule number 3, please don't trust anyone, whether people, animals, or things. Rule number 3.1. At night, there will be an old woman coming to look for fish. Around 10 p.m., she will see you and come in to ask for a lighter, and if you have it, give it to her. But if you don't have it, say you don't have it. She will try to find a way to look into your eyes. When you look into her eyes, she will be able to notice you because she is one of them. Rule number 4. At 10 p.m., you will hear the sound of a drum beating for 3 minutes. In the middle of the night, you have to be very careful. They will come to get you, let you find a way out of the forest, and even if you have to face them, even though they look ugly and scary, please don't get out of your way. They can only fool you. Rule number 4.1. At midnight, it will be a driving time. They will be able to catch you, and of course they can kill you too. Let you hide in the forest, done in 15.0 minutes 31 seconds. Subtitle is in the Outputs folder. Please keep in mind that they can run much faster than you, so don't run. Try not to make a sound for them to know. Hide until the sun of the new day rises. 5. Don't try to ask for help from people at the temple because there is no one there who can help you again. 6. If you happen to go into the temple, you will encounter something unusual where the mountains have a shape like an oil field that has been built, but it is pushed down the stairs, causing the clothes to be twisted and wrinkled. If you can't see, the mountains will try to catch you and you won't have a chance to see the sun again. 7. If you see a flash of light floating in the forest or floating on the ground, you are lucky. The fog will disappear for a while. They will not dare to make a sound when they come down to inspect the forest, which you will not have much time to hurry to find a way out of the forest. 7. The sound of the drum will be louder again before the light of the sky hits the rhythm of the drum. They will rush to find you before the light of the sky. If your luck is not over, you will have a life to survive until the day rises. 8. The sound of the drum is loud. The heartbeat is loud for about 3 minutes. When the sound of the drum is quiet, the forest is calm again. You ask yourself what to do now because it is now 10 p.m. Will you follow the first rule of the paper that tells you to hide? Or will you follow the second rule of the paper that tells you to escape? You have to make a decision. The brain is trying to figure out the answer. In the end, he turned on the flashlight and decided to follow the second rule of the paper. Before you go down and can't see the way, hurry to the temple. You don't have to wait until midnight. If the sound of the drum at midnight is loud for only 3 minutes, like at 10 p.m., he won't be able to run from the shrine to the temple in time. You decide to stop at the tomb hill and hide behind the 3-story pagoda. A lot of black shadows are pointing straight to the shrine where he used to be. Each body is a good body. There is a body leaning on one knee, another body walking on one leg, and another body with a broken skull and a lot of brain fat. It is estimated that he died from an accident. All the bodies he saw must have been ghosts. The moonlight flashed down and collided with the tomb. It made it clear to see the names of the 3 dead people. He was shocked and almost cried out. He hurriedly raised his hand to cover his mouth. The names of the 3 names he saw were the names of Puyajit, Luangpor, and Ko. The bodies of the 3 were kept in the tomb hill. It is a fact that he had just learned and showed that he had been deceived from the beginning. From the moment he entered the village, even his temple could not escape. The sound of the phone from the air conditioner was louder. Mr. Nat Pawa hurriedly picked up the phone to answer the call. Nat, why don't you answer the phone? I've been calling you for a long time. Or turn off the phones. I'm busy. And they turned their faces to the hill together. The one who was walking on his feet was actually floating. Mr. Nat held his phone and ran forward without thinking about his life. The light reflected from his car's taillight, which was parked on the way to the temple, flashed into his eyes. This must be the only way for him to escape from this place. Nat, what are you doing? Why are you panting? I love Anne. I'm going to the car. No, don't come to my house. I have to hide. He ran to the car, opened the door, hurriedly picked up the monk and his disciples in the car, hoping that the sacred things in the car would protect him. He turned on the engine. The sound of the engine was loud. While he was about to step on the accelerator, the sound from Anne would probably call again, because he turned on the speaker. I'm going to the old man's house. Go find out the truth. The old man has passed away. I told you that he took Luangpur back from Kipnamon. There was a car stuck. He returned at night. I don't know what he did. Even though he drove fast, the car fell off the tree in front of the temple. Now the temple is abandoned. The spirit of the underworld is haunting. Don't go in there, I warn you. No, I mean the son of Uncle Jit who came to be the head of the family instead of his father. No, you don't have a son. The new head of the family is Uncle Iam. He drove out of the forest to the temple. When he heard the sound, he was excited about the speed. He knew that he could get out of the temple. When the car arrived in front of the temple, he saw a powerful car. In front of the car, it collided with a large tree. The shape was bumpy. Smoke came up from the water, and it seems to have just collided. He was waiting for the car to see if it could help, even though he thought that the people in the car should not survive. When he saw the license plate number, he knew that it was Uncle Jit's car. So he hurried to speed up, burned up to smoke. This road is quite narrow. Many roads are bumps and large trees, and not the main road where the car can go fast. The road in front of the temple is a broken road. When the car runs, it may turn the other way and hit the road. In this area, accidents often occur. The engine sound is recorded in the remote area. There is only a light on the side of the road. It's not long before he will reach the village, but suddenly, there was a reason for Mr. Nut to avoid the car. A tall man walked out of the road. He asked for help. Because his car had an accident and collided with a tree, Mr. Nut could hardly control his car. He was hit by a broken frame. In addition, the road surface was a hole that made the car go too far. The car almost hit the tree. He had to quickly break the hidden barrier. The tall man's body was standing in front of the car. He had to brake the car again. The force sent his car into the temple area again. Mr. Nut blew his mouth hard. He looked through the rear-view mirror and didn't see anything behind him. The car slowed down. When he entered the temple area, he saw the body of a large group of people, wearing black clothes. Some were standing, some were walking. At first, Mr. Nut thought there might be a funeral in the temple. He was about to lower the rear-view mirror. Before he could blow his mouth loudly, he hurried into the rear-view mirror. When he pressed the second paper, it said that the mountain had the shape of a dynamite that had been shaped but was pushed down the stairs until the clothes were wrinkled. He couldn't find any beauty. The mountain will try to catch you, and you won't have a chance to see the moon and the sun again. Now the situation on Mount Watchern was like watching a zombie movie. Although they were walking slowly, they were crawling into a tunnel. Mr. Nut hurriedly drove the car out of the temple and headed for the village as usual. But the situation was the same. A tall man was dragging his legs to ask for help. Mr. Nut bit his teeth and hit the body with the car. Until the body flew over the car, the man's head cracked open, and the brain came out along with the red blood. The other body tried to push itself up like a huge skull. Mr. Nut, where are you now? On the car, I'm driving a ghost car. He turned around and lost consciousness. I'm upstairs. I saw a car running very fast. Is it your car? The sound of the car was heard from another dimension. His consciousness returned. He slowly slowed down, knowing that there was no way out of the tunnel. He slowly drove the car, even though there was no old man in front of him. Standing in front of the car again, there was a huge butterfly on the way back. It flew straight into the car. The car was shaking and it flew up in the sky and flew back again and again, as if it couldn't get out of this road, and if he wanted to escape, he would have to go back to the... Mr. Nutt, where are you? Are you still okay? That's Anne, right? It's not a ghost, is it? He answered in a tired way, with a heart that was about to run out every time. Well, I'm real. If you die, I'll find a new husband. Yes, you are. Because when you're angry, you'll like to retaliate like this. I love you, Anne. Love you forever. The phone signal was lost again, along with the loud sound of the camera. When the time on the console was midnight, there was no way he would hide in the temple, and there was no way he would hide in the forest. His only goal now is Sala. He will have to live until the new day. But when it came to Sela, the light that had been lit was still bright. The two legs did not step forward as soon as the camera stopped. On the way to the forest, they were looking this way. Mr. Nutt hid behind the tree that was not far away to see what the bad guys would do next. The body he brought was the body of a temple boy. He carried other ghosts around Sala. Mr. Nutt had to keep his mouth shut when his neck stretched out. His head went into the tent to look for him. When he couldn't find him, he wandered like a snake. He looked for him in every corner that people might use as a shelter. He was so sure he couldn't find him that he brought the group back to the same place. It was late at night. They were far away, so Mr. Nutt ran back into the deep forest again until he met a strange light floating above the trees before falling to the ground. The light he saw was the light of the letter, which he learned from the teacher, not the forest man, as he wrote. So he ran back to the Sala even though he was about to fall hard. But the light from the Sala was still bright as he guided him to walk to the Sala. When he got there, he hurriedly took Guy into the tent. An hour later, they returned to the Sala again. Mr. Nutt secretly looked from the side of the tent. He saw them moving into the forest, following their footprints every step. Then he smelled the human blood like a hunter. When he didn't find them, he grouped them away. Until it was 2 a.m., they were heading straight to the Sala again. When he saw that, Mr. Nutt didn't wait long and hurriedly hid in the forest near the Sala again. Mr. Nutt was getting more and more intense. He looked like he was stretching his neck to smell the scent in the tent. He made a loud noise when he didn't find the target. These hungry souls wouldn't stop until they found him. So he decided to go into the deep forest, tear the shirt into pieces and hang it on a stick. At the same time, he had to hide the letter. He did this for an hour. Sometimes he ran to hide in the hills like a cat running away. It was a frequent escape. He didn't stop until the time was up and he heard the last scream, which was a fast-paced drum. It made the hungry ghosts scream louder in the forest. They hurriedly dispersed in search of him. The scream of the long-necked ghost was louder. He stretched his neck up to the top of the tree. Finally, he found him. He hurriedly ran to hide in the tent. But when he got there, Mr. Nutt had to leave immediately. Because now around the tent, the hungry ghosts were looking for him as well. His shocking scream made them turn to look at the tree together. When they saw him, they hurriedly rushed in. In their heads at that time, they just thought that they would have to run back to the car and go to the temple road. Mr. Nutt ran along the small path. The path was full of dense vegetation. It scratched his body until it was full of wounds. His body was burning with exhaustion, but now he can't even run to the top of the hill and it's not even halfway through. He was in pain that he couldn't even breathe. At that time, he didn't even dare to turn around and look. The sound of his ears calling him behind him was not far away. It was like the sky was playing a joke. He dropped a branch to the top of his head. He fell on his side. He saw a shabby picture coming in. The ghost chasing him was a man in a PPE suit, but now he's taken off his mask. One of his eyes is swollen. On the other side of the road, he's limping. Mr. Nutt screamed. At the same time, one of his hands tried to pull it out of him. He was getting closer and closer because he had to die of an accident. Of course, he wanted to kill himself. He hurriedly got up and ran zigzag into the forest on the side of the road so that they couldn't reach him easily, but it didn't affect his eyes. The long-necked ghost was looking from the top of the tree, and at this time his body was very tall. A few steps can almost cover his face. Mr. Nutt is fainting. It's like a nightmare that's hard to wake up. If it's a real dream, he'll let it go. And woke up in the morning with the teachings of the teacher who said, if it's a nightmare, it's because of the effects of karma or an illusion, but the burning wound from being choked. Everything he's feeling right now, tell him that he's facing reality. In the dark, there is a figure standing and waving his hand. Call him to go find the old fish, with gray hair and white eyes, hiding in the dark. Make him see her clearly. Mr. Nutt hesitates whether to run back to the car or run to him. The third rule said, please don't trust anyone, whether people, animals, or things. He smiled at himself. That must be so bad when he has both ghosts and ghosts. Both ghosts have died. Why should he be afraid of the old woman again? The rules that are written on both pieces of paper almost fool him all. If he tells him not to trust anyone, he will choose to do the opposite. When the old woman saw him coming close, he turned around and walked forward. You can't call it a walk. It looks like you're floating. No matter how far he runs, the distance between him and the old woman is still the same. The sound of a whistle from behind. He has no intention to turn around and look, slowly run out of the way every time. The path in front of him is now a small path, which is clearly difficult to climb. He has fallen many times, but not to the brink. When he turned around again, he found a wooden bridge to cross. He almost stepped on the wooden bridge and broke it due to its old age. He slowly supported his body, but he still managed to cross. The old woman has no cough at all, smiling with a small laugh, listening to the sound of a whistle. His face is now wrinkled like a dog. He has never been so tired before in his life, if this is a nightmare. Now he's about to wake up. It should be morning by now. But the sun's shadow makes the new day start later than usual. As soon as the cloud passed, there was a spotlight on his face. The bright sunlight made his eyes blur for a while. Mr. Nutt began to breathe. He smiled to himself. If he hadn't lit the fire with the old woman from the first time, he would have survived since 9 p.m. At this time, he still saw the finger of the old woman. The cigarette that was not lit. He rubbed his hand against the pocket of his pants, and then he met the fire extinguisher. He hurriedly picked it up and he lit the fire with the side of the box. Until a loud noise occurred, he raised the fire to spread the smoke. Let the old woman breathe out. Before she was about to open her mouth, the old woman whispered to him, "My son, next time, if you come to live, let me tell you, don't forget your belongings. Don't forget the rope. Don't forget the hook. Don't forget the lighter and put it on. Ho, ho, ho." He smiled again. Before that figure disappeared in the morning sunlight, Mr. Nutt walked again, slowly left the body lying on the bed. Although it looks very old, but the evidence is still strong, because it can be used to protect against the sun and rain. Before that, the volunteer would have fixed the light for him, to use as a shelter. There was dry food and water inside, just enough. But then there was one thing that caught his eye. A piece of paper was hung on the pole as a rule of 14-day quarantine, and then he went back to sleep. The next morning, a piece of paper was hung on the pole. As a rule of 14-day quarantine, it is said that anyone who is in the quarantine, please read this message if you want to stay alive for 14 days. And follow the rules strictly, and follow the rules strictly. Rule 1, do not go outside at night, even if someone calls, and please know that there will only be a staff to check on you. In the middle of the day, suddenly, a motorcycle sound knocked out Mr. Kwanpawa. Volunteer PPE suit. Bring food to deliver along with a sweet smile. She is no one else, but she is his beloved aunt. We'll pass the quarantine for only one night, but when there is such a good medicine, he is confident that he will quarantine for 14 days, for sure. And this is the whole story of the rule to quarantine in the jungle. Do not tell about dreams when eating. Hello. If you are Thai, sometimes you may have heard the story of the rope tied to the ghost. For example, do not play in the water at night. The ghost will pull your leg. Or do not sleep when the sun is close to the ground, will be haunted. Or do not cut your nails at night. The ghost of the house will be worried, which may have a slight difference in detail, according to the area. But the main point is, do not do this. The ghost will do this. Something like that. I myself am one. My parents used to warn me about that. But when I grew up, it made me stop believing those words. But when I look back, I understand that. Those words are a form of goodwill in order to prevent, not to be dangerous. And so I raised it to threaten not to do this. And the children are afraid of ghosts. But think again. Talk with a reason and let it go. Actually, what I want to tell you is that my family has a belief that is very close. It's about talking on the dining table, as usual, with parents or close family members. Going to eat, talk to each other. That's what I can do, but my family has one rule. Do not talk while eating, and that is, what about last night's dream? I believe that it is a topic of conversation. In close friends, that can be found in everyday life. To tell. The more I think about it, the more it is worth telling someone. But there is a belief from old people. Do not tell about dreams while eating. Otherwise, the dream will come true, and it doesn't seem scary when compared to other things, if the dream is good. Dreaming that 10 million, it is expected to be true, but are you sure that you only dream about good things all night? I felt that when I was lost. Yes. Do you remember what I told you? Do not talk about dreams while eating. My dream while eating. One day when I put the fresh food in the paper bag, after I went to help my mother buy things on the table, when I spoke up and walked in to find, the face looked tense and unusual, made me think that something big was going to happen. Yes. Do you know that in the past you may have spoken up very often, but it's still lucky that you're not 18. But after this, you have to be more careful. Oh yes. I forgot to tell you that yesterday was the same day as my 18th birthday. When I put a piece of paper on the table, I looked at it and found that it was long, but it was my father's handwriting. While I was about to read, my mother stood next to me and raised her hand to squeeze my hair. It's not a joke, right? My mother's voice was so worried that I had to laugh, hoping to change the atmosphere. Oh, my mother, when was this? Yes, it's when my parents were so worried I couldn't help but laugh. Okay, I give up. I took a deep breath before I promised to read the message on the paper. Before I walked up to the room, let's see. When I left the doll on the bed, take a comfortable posture. And I picked it up and read. Rule of telling a story about a dream on the dining table. Rule number 1. Avoid telling a story about last night's dream, or whatever dream is the best. Rule number 2. If you want to tell, be sure that all last night's dreams are only good. Rule number 3. After the second rule, it's impossible for humans to remember all the dreams, so let's go back and read the first rule. Rule number 4. If you happen to tell, please hurry to the temple within 12 minutes. Tell the story that happened to Lungta. Yes, Lungta is the one who often visits our family to offer alms. But if he is not there, ask your son to go to Sapaler Glitch. He likes to sit around the temple, wearing a green snow-covered shirt, long-legged pants, and torn shoes. Normally, he will wear a cap, but if he is the one who is sitting and dressing as he said, but not wearing a cap, please hurry to escape as quietly as possible. It's starting. Rule number 5, Lungta is precise and strategic. We'll handle everything for the child to be safe. If you meet them in time, it's okay. Rule number 6, but if you go to the temple and don't meet anyone, please hurry back home. Come to the temple, keep yourself there as long as the time the child slept last night, or the day of the dream that was told. But you should try to find both of them before coming to the temple. Rule number 7, if you wonder what will happen. When he said that all the dreams that were told would come true, it means that every dream, every corner of the child's brain, and believe that no one can remember all the dreams, whether good or bad. There will always be a part that disappears when he wakes up, but the blurring out while eating will make everything true, no exception. Rule number 8, the sign that it has begun is, the child will encounter an unexpected mission. And if the child is still at the dining table, all the friends at the table will turn to look at the child with wide open eyes and keep smiling. That means it's too late. But pray that all those dreams will not be harmful to life or make the child lose consciousness first. At first I read it, I almost laughed, and I was at that time, when I was 18, not at all afraid. To be honest, I'm not afraid of ghosts anymore, since the time when I begged my mother and father, so I didn't understand that it was such a bad thing. Actually, I've been through this rule all the time, until the day I graduated from high school and went out to hang out with friends at the restaurant that evening. The story of the ghost was raised to speak while the food was boiled, stir fry, curry, and fried, as much as high school students can afford to digest and serve, while talking about the topic of who will continue to study, or who will be in the future. See you again, what will you tell me? Suddenly, I don't know what to think. Before I met Pa, hey, last night I dreamed that Kim was going to be a housewife, the one who almost bit the head of a child like him. Ha 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 ha, I'm talking funny. Imagine Kim in my dream smiling at her son. Send a child who takes care of himself to sleep in the middle of the day and then laugh. It's stuck in my eyes until I wake up and I don't forget. Friends are back, with Kim as a friend who was pissed off, as if not close to say anything to tease him. It almost cursed him to forget the way home, and still don't like children very much, with the excuse that the child's voice is annoying. The person who was raised as a point turned to look at the green eyes, raised his hand to hit my shoulder until he cried out loud. I bowed my head and raised my hand to apologize, asking to go to tease like teasing without caring, and turned to laugh loudly when a friend raised a funny story to tell. Time passed for a while. Without me knowing at that time, I accidentally broke the rule at home that I never cared for him. I realized at the time that the tense atmosphere suddenly disappeared, like near the end of the clip, and about 20 friends who sat down to eat together. When the teacher turned his face to me, together. It's together until the face of the person gets up, and still staring at me with eyes that grow bigger. It's like seeing something else, until the mouth of all of them, slowly smiling. That's it. The person on my body got up and fought. The last thing on the paper on this card, lying still in the mouth of the house, floating in my head. Damn it, is this real? I don't know how long it's been after I accidentally talked about the dream, but from the state of what I saw in front of me, I knew that it was starting. I got up and fell off the chair, trying to get out of the restaurant as soon as possible, hoping to take myself back home. Damn it, I'm stuck. Arrived at the parking lot, stepping into the motorcycle, and I don't know if it will start in 100 days or 1,000 years. I'm not stuck right now. No matter how hard I try to restart, I won't get stuck. Suddenly, the person behind my neck got up and fought. When I turned to look behind, I met a woman lying on the floor. The body trembled, along with the face that was slowly getting tired. What the hell? I fainted. I didn't blame her, but my brain was full of excitement because the fear was calculating. What did I dream about last night? What I remember clearly is Kim is a kindergarten teacher. The story that I was haunted, I don't remember this part. But it was a dream before I woke up. I dreamed that no matter where I went, I will see a woman in a bad condition, a stalker, damn it. When I thought of it, I stopped trying to ride a motorcycle, but rely on my 2 legs instead. I ran. I ran until I was tired, but I didn't want to stop. The destination is my house. At least I can go into the haunted house. The sound was like something softer, scratching against the road surface, which is cement. I was in a good mood, turned to look. I met that woman, shaking her body quickly. The body was in a bad condition, but my eyes were open, made me scared like crazy. It's not just a dream that I forgot, but this is the truth. I stepped on my feet like a marathon runner. But you know, right? In the dream, where can I move my body? The one who feels like running so fast, it's almost as fast as running. And not long before I turned to look, I found that the back was once bright, with a flashlight. Suddenly those lights went out and chased me, and with a high-pitched laugh, "Where are you going?" The voice of the ghost almost didn't see the story, getting louder with a man who showed up from the corner of the road, turned straight ahead and had a wide smile, hands with only fingers, with broken bones sticking out and waving. "Hey, let's talk." I ran away. It ran after me again. I opened my mouth when this ghost ran at the same speed as me and broke his neck to speak. I didn't answer. Of course, who would answer? What I did was trying to keep my mind. The rest of you ran away as soon as possible. This guy laughed and chased me, but the ghost of the woman would still follow. The noise got louder, along with me looking at my house, which is not far from the front. Not long after I arrived, sweat on my body and my heart, I was still dancing until it came out of my chest. When I turned around, I locked the wrong door, until I heard a voice like a man, knocking down the door on the other side. It was just the right time to knock down. I pushed my body against the door. When I got into the house, it's like the ghost of the woman stopped moving. I don't remember much what will happen after this, so I tried not to do much, except going into the monk's room. But what I found was, the monk's room was locked. Shit, I was stunned. Of course, this kind of nightmare would haunt me in every way, because coming to the monk's room, this is before everything starts. The idea of hoping to rely on. When it's too late, it's probably useless. So I changed my goal to my bedroom. There was also a Buddha statue lying on his head, and luckily the room was not locked, so I could get in. I put my body against the pillow, along with a blanket to cover. I must have forgotten to say that the atmosphere in the house is very scary. The house is dark. But why do I see everything clearly? I don't know. No one is in the house, no sound at all. How many hours did I sleep last night? I tried to think, but I couldn't. Because I remembered the rule that said to hide in the monk's room at the same time as I went to sleep. In this case, I might have had a dream at the same time. When I think about it, Anna and I slept at 10 p.m. In the morning, I woke up at 6 a.m. to prepare for the ritual before 9 a.m. I tried to lift my arms that were shaking and sweating to look at the time. Now it's about 8 p.m. From what we talked on the table, it should have been more than an hour. And while I was thinking about what to do next, suddenly the blanket that covered my body was slowly pulled out. I was ready to look down with my head with my hair down. I opened my mouth wide like I was so happy. When I found a suitable place to hide, I went in to hide, but who would know that it was a pile of dead bodies in a white cloak? But when I was about to lose consciousness, I happened to see a pair of digital watches that were running around with me all night. It made a sound, came out slowly from its body, and a new number appeared at 6 o'clock. My time to wake up yesterday. I survived. I woke up again and was at the hospital. My mother was sitting next to me, and my father came out of the bathroom just as I opened my eyes. A kind face looked at my heart before coming straight to my head lightly. Come on, son, I'm crying. The pain is still lingering all over my body. When my mother woke up, she squeezed my hand. Her eyes seemed to be watering. She would cry and not cry until I felt guilty. If I had listened, if I had been afraid of that pressure more, this would not have happened. Therefore, after that, I followed the pressure and sent this piece of paper to my family's grandchildren. Not to let anyone have a nightmare that turns out to be a hoax again. Let me present the story of Cotton using the swimming pool of the swim-along training center. Today is the most beautiful day I've ever had. That's what I think. Lon is a member of the famous school's swimming club in the province who has recently applied to borrow the swimming pool of the swim-along training center to be used as a special training facility before the national competition. I am also one of the athletes who will have to train here. But the first time I stepped in, I felt strange. It may sound strange, but she thought that this place was not just a swimming pool of living things. First of all, when I walked through the automatic door of the training center, she saw a swimming suit placed in a corner that was the most eye-catching. It may be something that someone has forgotten. But what made me get goosebumps was that there was a jar with a bouquet of flowers on it, and a small bouquet of flowers on top of the swimming suit. Before she walked around that area, she saw that it was not just one, but dozens of them. In addition, there was something strange about her when she went into the water. There was a time when Rena raised her hand to the water slide on her face. At that time, she saw that the pool turned red with blood. But when she blinked her eyes again, it was back to normal. And another thing is the rules here. It is a good tool to confirm Rena's thoughts. Welcome. We are really glad that Senseki athletes are confident to use our training center. The first time you guys went to the training center, a woman in a cream-colored swimsuit came out to welcome you, with a smile on her face. She had a number of papers in her hand, and handed them to Rena and her friends. They and she took it with a suspicious look. Some of them put it in their pockets, even though they hadn't read it yet. But Rena, who didn't like to come first, returned to read it in detail. That is the rule of the women of the swimming pool training center. I will explain to you, and ask you to read it again in detail, for your own safety. She smiled, but this time Rena looked back and felt that it was a scary smile. She turned her eyes and looked at the message, along with what the female staff had explained. Rule in using the swimming pool of the training center. Swim to try. Rule number 1, ask for cooperation to buy sugar. And when you come to the training center next time, you will enter the swimming pool area. Ask to give it to our staff. We will return the money to you. And before entering the swimming pool, pray with all your heart, for yourself and your friends to be safe. Rule number 2, don't open or touch anything. That is in the number key. If you accidentally open it, apologize 3 times, and then close it back in the same way. We are ready to inform the staff, to ask for permission to put it on. And the next day, do not use our pool. Rule number 3, you can use a small locker as you like, but if you open it and find the following things, don't panic, it's just a warning. When you open it, you will find an old wooden doll. It means that today you may be a little more tired than usual. When you are swimming, they won't do anything more than that. Meet a Sakura girl. That means that today, you will have a refreshing swimming. 100% safe. Meet a broken glass. Be more careful. You may encounter small accidents while swimming, such as a head-on collision with the edge, because something here is not very satisfactory. You may not be able to swim. And no matter what happens, please let the staff know. We will proceed in the correct way. Do not put it back or leave it alone. 4. Require cooperation to avoid using the pool after 6 p.m. Since we have regular customers who have to use the service for a long time, I mean a really long time, I believe that more than you think they will come to use the service. I would like to emphasize that I left the pool area before 6 p.m. In case you can't get out of the pool, please follow the following rules strictly. Rule 4. Hide in the changing room. Do not enter the bathroom. At the changing room, please hide in the large locker room 12. Please hide as quietly as possible. Even if you hear the sound of opening the door and the sound of walking in, do not make a sound to ask for help, because it is not human. Rule 4. If you see through the bottom channel that there is a pair of shoes, stop in front of your locker. I want you to close your eyes immediately. She will open the locker and use her hand to pick up your back. You will not feel anything but a chill in your body, and do not open your eyes until you hear the sound of the locker being closed again. Otherwise, your skin will be used as her new swimsuit. Rule 4. After she left the room, I want you to walk out of the locker as quietly as possible and leave the changing room immediately. After you walk out, you will find that the light of the training center is completely dark because our regular customers do not like bright light. And when there is no bright light, it will make any place look more dangerous. But for here, it doesn't just look the same, but it's really dangerous. I want you to follow the path that has a red light on the sign and come out as soon as possible. And I have to tell you that it's not color, but it's blood. Rule 4. While you are meeting our regular customers, but we may not know who it will be. So I want you to follow the procedure as follows. If you meet a girl in a pink two-piece swimsuit, tie her hair in a vintage style. I want you to tell her that you have bought sugar. I wish her happiness. The girl will frown and smile before leaving. Don't scream even if you see that her body is not good enough. That's a waste of dignity. But if you forgot to buy sugar that day, I wish you to run for the rest of your life. I hope you are lucky enough to escape. If you meet a man with a twisted body and he looks like a human being, along with the sound of bones shaking on the floor and slowly bringing himself to you, I hope you look at him and don't take your eyes off him, and walk past him as fast as you can, even if he will slowly twist his arms or move in a dangerous direction. If you stop looking even for a second, he will kiss you and make your body look like him. But in the end, this is the worst case that any regular customer has ever told me. He met the head of a liar. This is our most dangerous special customer. He likes to tease humans to find a body for him. You need to find it before the new day. It seems to be a long time, but believe me that walking around by listening to the words of the dog. And it's full of your lies. It's the worst. Yes, if he tells you to go left, you go right. And if you can't find his body before the new day, I would like to express my regret. Mr. Yuta will get a new body again. Rule 4.5. If you follow these guidelines successfully, which Mr. Yuta's case may be a bit difficult, and pass them, just keep walking along the blood path, and you will find the exit of the training center. When you get to the exit, I want you to pay close attention to the outside. If on the way out, there is something that looks like a person standing, I want you to hurry back the way you came. You will find that the blood pupil has changed the path. Let you walk along the new path, because the old way was once teased by one of our special customers. And it's a strong prank, because if you go through the door all the way, you probably won't come back and when you walk along the new path until you find the way out again. Next time, you will see 2 bright Japanese lights placed in front of the automatic door. Congratulations, you will return safely to travel safely. Rule 5. Remember the rule well. Because if you have passed the time of 18 o'clock, some rules may have some details that have changed, which is definitely not good for you. Rina smiled as she looked at the paper that wrote the rule in her hand. It was the first day she received this rule, along with the voice of a famous employee in her head. But yes, she remembered everything. Today is the most beautiful day, because she was specially called to stay in practice, due to the bad time statistic. And in a few days, it will be the day of the competition. Although Rina refuted the rule of the training center, but the new head coach did not think that this rule was true. But even so, When the head coach came out of the water, he did not see the body that was holding the time at that time. I don't know what happened, but he must have run away. Rena thought so. So she got out of the swimming pool and changed her clothes. She thought she might still have time. But when she picked up her cell phone to look at the time, the whole body shivered. Because that time shows that now is 18 January. Where? What does the rule say? I have to hurry to take a shower in the bathroom, right? Rena didn't have much time to think. As soon as she saw the watch, telling time that now she had to face the worst situation. The body shivered with someone pouring cold water on it. It's not good to just stand here, because I will stand alone. The pool is full of sunlight. Then say goodbye. The girl felt a lot of eyes staring at her, but her instinct told her to straighten up. Rena tried to control her fear and took herself out of the area first. She picked up the paper and pressed it to read again. It shivered. Because since the first day Cow came to use the service here, Rena just read it many times in normal time, until I almost remembered. But this time I found that it was written on the paper, to hide in the bathroom. But look, what I remember is that I talked about hiding in the locker. Rena thought and had to swallow her tears when she thought that the bathroom she used to use. There is no locker. Some information makes you feel like you don't like to come first. Little hands pressed the paper to read quickly again, and Rena was told that the last button was on her job now. When it passed 18 o'clock, some buttons may have changed details. It's bad. She tried to be conscious before rushing to the changing room. That she believes in her memory more than the paper she wrote now. When she entered locker number 12, she hurried to hide inside, in a very large and dark locker. There is only light from the second changing room. Follow the vent below. Rena took a deep breath, because when she rushed into this room, in the middle of the way, the light that used to shine on that way slowly returned to cover the back. Like the scene in the horror movies, the loud footsteps makes her hurry to raise her hand to cover her mouth in order not to let the breath escape. That voice came with a voice that could not be heard, and the voice was still cold. Until she woke up, until it stopped in front of the closet. Rena closed her eyes tightly. She heard a crackling sound. At the time that voice opened the locker, it's a laugh and a like, along with a cold touch that penetrated through the body. She woke up and wanted to scream, but the girl did not dare to even breathe. Until the sound of the locker door closed, Rena slowly opened her eyes. She raised her hand to cover her mouth. Tears streamed down her cheeks when she saw that the center of the chest had a red mark, surrounded by a circle, but she did not feel any pain. The smell made Rena feel that this was blood, and it must be a skill of something just now. Although she was not afraid of blood, but what she found almost made her knees go down hard. Tears streamed down her hands. If I can go back alive, I will definitely take it back. You crazy. Thinking of scolding the coach in her mind, that made her have to meet like this. The girl took time with herself for a while. She kept her strength as her strength. Until after a while, she decided to open the locker door and came out of the changing room. Outside, her hands were really close, as Kot said. Rena looked left and right to find the coach. Strange, that even though it was dark, until she could barely see her own feet, but the blood-colored coach returned to stand out as strange, the tall figure of the girl walking along that path. While passing through the rooms of the training center, she saw a strange shadow hugging the mirror and sent a wide smile, as scary as hell. The fear that arose made her hurry quickly, praying that the next problem won't happen tonight. But Rena thought it was a blessing that couldn't reach the sky because she saw a girl standing in front of her. "Where are you, Mom?" That girl was in a pink one-piece swimsuit, vintage hair, along with her face. Following her left and right movements, her body was half-body at first. Overwhelmed by the darkness, now it slowly appeared in Rena's eyes. When that girl walked up close, she saw. Her legs were shaking like they had been hit by a hard object. The wind was so strong that it was scary that I wanted to run away. But Rena remembered Kot. "Don't scream," she tried to scream. "Sister, do you see my mother?" Kot didn't write a reply. Rena thought it was not a serious matter to talk to this girl. She tried to swallow her fear, but then she turned her face. "No, I don't see it." One leg stepped back, ready to turn around and run, if that answer is not satisfied with this regular customer. But in the end, the girl just smiled sadly and said, "Really? If I can't find my mother, I must be hit for sure, and it must hurt a lot. Yumi is a bad girl who sneaked her mother to play in the pool, but I asked her nicely, but I don't know why she was angry, until we had to fight." Rena's little mouth began to speak. Rena listened and stayed still. She was able to relate the story to the condition of this child. From fear, it began to become pity, and very lucky. Rena did as she was told. Today she bought a sugar cane. Rena walked up close to the little girl and leaned down, put her hand on her head before saying, "Do you like sugar cane?" "Sugar cane? I like it. My father secretly bought it for me to eat every time, when Yumi was hit by my mother." Rena smiled. Yumi's picture came out. "I bought sugar cane for you. Go eat. And from now on, be happy." She didn't know how sincere her smile would be, but when the girl heard this and smiled broadly, Rena already knew that it was too cruel. The little body walked away in the dark, leaving only Rena and her blood. She continued to walk, with the thought in her mind that today would end here, or just walk along the way, to see if anyone was standing in front of the door and would have gotten out of here. She forgot to think of one more thing, that Kot didn't say that one night she would meet only one regular customer. "Hey, you," Rena shuddered when she walked for a while and heard a voice calling from the front door. Rena almost went down to cry there when she saw that something was moving and hit her feet. It was a lion. His black eyes were wide open, and he looked up with a little smile on his lips. If only all the body parts went down, she would have known that she had met the most dangerous person today. The lion of Utajam lied. "Help me find my body," he said with a hoarse laugh. It was the loudest voice in the world. She was hesitating whether to run away or follow Kot. If she ran, she would survive, because the lion wouldn't catch up. But until she survived, she chose to do what was more likely, to put herself at risk. Rena took Utajom's head. Without waiting for her to ask, the lion started to tell her, "All right, walk straight." Rena slowly exhaled before walking backwards. The more she walked backwards, the more scary images appeared in front of her. The man on the ceiling was looking at her with a lot of black shadows, or even a scream. Rena thought that if she forgot Kot and followed what he said, what would happen? And when Utajom found out that she was walking backwards, his head made an unpleasant sound. "That's enough. Now go to the right, the room with the sign that you can't enter." She walked to the left, but the room that appeared turned out to be 2 rooms with a warning sign that you can't enter. Rena walked to the front of one room. She looked at the room next to her with hesitation. If she made a mistake now, the future would be full of uncertainty, and finally, she would become a new form for Utajom. "What are you doing? Get in, this is the room." A loud noise made the girl in the room think. One hand held the door handle. Rena almost closed it, but she could think of something just now when she walked backwards and didn't follow what he said. Yutajom's head made an unpleasant sound because he knew that she knew. But this time when Rena was standing in front of this room, Yutajom pushed her back in. It means that this room is her unsafe room. Hey! Rena lowered her hand and took Yutajom's head to the other room until the other party shouted. She opened the door and found a lot of cabinets that were arranged in a row as if there was no end. Yutajom was more and more displeased, and it seemed that it was near the end, and the more fun it was. The black-eyed girl looked left and right before speaking. Walk back 3 steps, get out of this room. You've come to the wrong place. Actually, it's the same room. In that room, just walk straight and turn left another 19 steps to the box where I sneaked in. But I'm not sure if my body is in the white locker, but it should be. Oh no, Rena thought. Yutajom's head spoke for a long time, and it would be the last clue that would confuse her. But first of all, this is the right room for sure. She held her head like that and tried to filter her thoughts from all the words she heard, and she thought calmly, even though she was sweating nonstop. Rena didn't know how long it had been since she talked to Yumi, and now she didn't know if the new day was coming or not. Hey, is the new day midnight or sunrise? Of course, I'm kind enough to let it be sunrise. Ah, it's midnight. Rena shut her mouth. The girl slowly came to her senses before walking 3 more steps as she thought. And she just knew that when she walked, all the lines in this room would be blurred. When Rena walked all the way, that cabinet turned into a new path. Yuta was panicking. You don't believe me at all, do you? You've made this room a mess, you see? But it's okay. I'll tell you the way back to the right place. All right, turn right at that corner. Rena's head wandered to the dark corner. She probably had to walk for a while. Rang Sungpong and Nguyen Sisa kept walking all the way. Rena saw that there was a separate path on the left, from the rule that told her to do the opposite. Her legs were moving as intended, but when she looked at it, she saw a picture of a human body with a lot of head parts hanging. The look of horror made her almost faint. Yuta moved to look at her the same way, before speaking out loud. No, are you going to the left? I'm telling you to go to the right. You see, there's a white cabinet over there. If my body wasn't there, you wouldn't want to walk to those scary things, would you? The dry sound didn't stop ringing, but Rena had to follow the rule. She led Yuta to the left. As she walked through the darkness to find her body, she heard a lot of screams along the way. Help me, it hurts. No, if I believed that rule. She was so scared that she almost cried. Yuta's hand grabbed her head tighter. That nails almost pierced the skin of the other party. The girl was so excited that she walked all the way to the end. Rena found her body still in the cabinet. Her eyes were open. That body was wearing the outfit she had seen recently. It was her coach's body. Hey, this is not my body. Yuta laughed. I don't appreciate it. Because it's not my body. The dry sound kept ringing. Rena was still conscious enough to translate that lie. Now she did it. She could run away. Her body wouldn't move. The scary sight made Rena forget to move for a while. Yuta moved her hand violently until Rena had to let it fall to the ground. He turned to find the headless body. His hand moved down to pick up the head and connected it to the dry part of the neck. I'm going to lie. The laughter got louder. Rena's voice was like a coach's voice. It was like there was some kind of noise, and she almost lost her hearing because of the voice that was out of tune. I can't run anymore. 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 The more she spoke, the blood that was almost black spilled out of her throat. Rena couldn't stop herself from crying. She ran out of her life through many scary cabinets. Tears streamed down her cheeks. with a picture that she didn't want to see that night, until one of her legs became weaker and took her body to the corner of the street in the dark. Rena took a deep breath. With a dizzy head, she sat still, trying to be as conscious as possible, her hands raised to wipe her tears, even though they were still wet. She looked around and found bloodstains on her clothes. The code is up. It means that Utah's game of lying is over and she survived. She still doesn't have enough strength to stand up. The image of the evil body of the code is still stuck in her head. She thought that while she was running away, the code would start. This is it. Renat decided to lift the code paper up and read it again, and the heart disappeared when Utah's code changed as well. It said that it was better to run away than to listen to Utah's lies. Or if you choose to help, believe what Utah says. The girl raised her hand and covered her face. It's not hard to guess the code's behavior. She took a break for a while and then decided to get up again. Her hands slowly moved up and down along the path of the code. She was lucky. After that, she did not meet regular customers in the code 4 again. Renat came to the exit. She smiled weakly when she met the automatic door and the 2 bright Japanese lights. It's finally over, Renat thought calmly. She sat right there next to the light that looked warm and safe to take another breath. After a while, she heard footsteps and had to turn around to look at it. But what she saw was just a clean set of clothes and sugar in a plastic bag. Renat looked carefully, but then she saw a piece of paper in front of her. Yumi-chan has come to pick up the sugar. She wanted to thank you for being kind to her, so she asked me to prepare a new set for her and share a piece of sugar with you. You can eat it, and from now on it's a week. You will only find good luck. From the night shift manager at the training center, Yumi-chan asked me to write it for her. And she was the one who took the sugar set and put it for you at the exit. Renat smiled, took out the plastic bag, and picked up the sugar and put it in her mouth. The sweet taste brought her to her senses. At least today it's not just bad things. I would like to present the story. Caught a survivor from the forest at night. Months go by. In a province of One, Thailand. You're on your way to the village, aren't you? I think in my mind. The bridge was cut off from the highway. In the middle of the rain, I had to be conscious so that I wouldn't fall and hit the floor. My eyes turned to see the parking lot on the side of the road, and it's on the side of the road, and near there's a red, wet road and that goes up the hill. There's a forest on both sides, and there's a sign in front of the entrance. The parking lot was in perfect condition, but it was better than nothing. I ran to the parking lot in a hurry. I ran to the parking lot, looking for people around the area, hoping that there might be friends who share the same fate. But it looks like I have to wait for the car to enter the village alone after sitting on a wet horse. For about an hour, I heard the sound of a car coming from the back road. Not long after, I saw an old car coming out, so I hurried up and called the car. The car slowed down before slowly moving closer. At this point, I saw through the car window that the driver was an old man. What are you doing in the middle of the afternoon like this, young man? The last car stopped running. That old man asked, hello? Are you from this village? No, I'm not. I pointed my finger at the sign. To enter the village. Oh, that's right. I'm about to enter the village. But who are you? You don't look familiar. I'm from Bangkok, and I heard that this village has a forest that is still in full bloom. So I'm going to set up a 2-animal camp, I told myself. Are you here to travel at this time? The old man said, with a slightly confused face. I nodded. How old are you, young man? The old man asked. That's a strange question to ask to someone who has just met for the first time. I thought about it before answering. 28, I said it out loud, that I was only. 25 years old. Anyway, I have to be careful. Come on, get in the car first. I'll take you to the village. The old man had a suspicious face before he reached out to unlock the car door for me. And by the way, I'm very lucky. If I hadn't happened to go to the city to buy things today, I would have been out in the rain all night, the old man asked after turning into the red road. For a short time, the old man said he was going to set up a zoo. Have you thought about it? Our village is not that prosperous. Why don't you go to the sea or go somewhere else or something like this? I prefer to travel in a rich way. And another thing, the zoo looks good in nature. I also heard that the forest near this village has many species of wild animals, so I really want to come and visit. The story that the forest near the village has many species of wild animals is true. When I was a child, I used to see a hunter in the village hunting a bear, almost as big as an elephant. Oh, then this forest must be very prosperous, I said, with excitement. But I think our forest is still prosperous, partly because in my village there is a tradition that everyone who enters the forest must keep it, like respecting the forest, and not hunting animals or cutting down trees, and that's part of it. But the forest is both scary and mysterious. If we take anything out of the forest, we always have to pay back. I can feel that the old man is starting to adjust, his voice more seriously. Young man, do you believe in ghosts? The old man asked. I, who have never met a ghost in my life, but have heard of many forms, I replied. I don't believe, but I don't deny it. It's good to believe a little today, young man, and listen carefully to what the old man will tell you. I nodded. This kind of village was created to show respect to the forest and the mountains. In return, the old man agreed to let us benefit from the forest as a source of livelihood, which will be held at the end of the winter, like this every year, the old man told me. What is this kind of thing, I wonder? Who knows? It's easy, young man. In the dark months, our village will choose a person in the age group and let him stay in the forest for one night. That's my real age. Why are you quiet, young man? The old man nodded before turning his face away from the road. Oh no, nothing. But how do you get into the forest for one night? I nodded, to be polite. When it's morning, come back and it will be the end of the ceremony, young man, the old man said. Come out like that, before you turn your face back and look at the red road as usual. The rain would still fall, and let the air cool down in the car. That's easy. It's like staying in the forest for just one night. I said that. I thought about it. I didn't see anything. The problem is, there are very few people who can come out in the morning. The old man's voice was heavy. Oh, why? Are you lost in the forest, or is it dangerous in the forest? The foresters in the forest are busy. If you really want someone, it's hard for that person to get out of the forest. This is like a man. And what do people who come out do? I asked. I don't know. Maybe it's because that night he might not be very hungry, but every year the villagers get to interview those people and come out as a rule to survive. Maybe one day your grandchild may be chosen to go into the forest, and you will have more chances to survive. The old man said, what is the rule? I want to hear. I can't help but ask. The old man turned to look at me again. Then he turned back to look at the road, MIT1, to ask. First of all, young man, at dusk we will let the elders and the monk lead the way, without closing the eyes of the chosen one, and take him into the forest. Walk deep until you reach the area of the forest. At this point, the elders will hand over the bag to that person. There will be necessary things and food in it. After that, the elders and the monk will leave that person alone. At this point, the time should be around 2 to 3 o'clock. It's good to have a bonfire. It can help a lot because in that forest it's both dark and humid and it's quiet until you can make it busy. And if you don't have a bonfire, you can use the forest to make a fire. And if you don't have a bonfire, you can use the forest to make a fire. And if you don't have a bonfire, you can use the forest. And the chosen one, would you like to walk back too, Uncle? I asked. The chosen one will not have a way to follow the elders, or in time, because no matter how fast you walk, or no matter how fast you run, for a while you will be lost. And then go back to the same place, Uncle answered me, before speaking. Rule number 1, look for the Buddha's temple that is easy to build in that area, and do the ritual of praying to the forest and the mountain by bringing food out of the yam, and let the leaves only in that area. As a plate of food in front of the Buddha's temple, dot 9 flowers, close your eyes and tell the Buddha's temple that I will stay with you for one night. In the meantime, you may hear the sound of eating, but Uncle said don't open your eyes and look, because that picture will be stuck in your eyes for the rest of your life when the sound is quiet. And you can open your eyes and put your mouth in front of the Buddha's temple before bringing the knife down to the ground, and use that knife to scratch the ground 3 times and bring the soil into the can in the yam. Let it finish the first ritual. If you don't do the ritual, what will happen? I think people who have been very hungry all year, when they find food or something that looks like food in front of them, what are they going to do? The uncle asked. I received the message from the uncle immediately, before I raised my face to let the uncle continue. Rule number 2, at 4 to 5 o'clock, there is a chance that there will be events that will happen in the future. First, may see a fireball, or many candles in the middle of the darkness in the forest. The young man may think that it is the light from people coming to find wild goods or whatever. Don't follow it. The fireball is not dangerous, but it will make those who follow it lost. Good or bad may be lost for the rest of their lives. Or 2, there will be people coming in for a conversation. The skin looks like a normal person, but notice carefully, that person will have a large piece of cloth covering his back. Let's talk to him. After a while, that person will ask for a back scratch, before turning around and opening the cover in case you see a rotten back. That was used until it was seen to the back of the spine. At this point, the person who survived, he said, be patient. Don't be scared, no matter how scary. Let it be calm. Before going to pick up the warm ashes in the incense burner of the Holy Spirit to sprinkle on his rotten back, that person will be in pain and run away, and will not come back to disturb all night, the uncle said, before turning around to look at me to see if there was anything else to ask. I didn't say anything before I turned my face away quietly. Oh, I forgot to tell you. Rule 3, and hurry up and take pictures of everything before it's midnight. Don't forget to ask permission first, and after midnight, we'll not be able to do it again. And if you are careful to take pictures of everything, do not open your mouth. Or if you hear the voice of a person calling, don't be secretive either. They like to take advantage of the opportunity when we let go. Let go of this pain. Wait a while for that voice to disappear. And if I open my mouth or keep it secret, at this point, Uncle doesn't know either, because no one has ever done that and come back out of the forest. Rule 4, when it's midnight, there will be a hunter walking in to find. He will briefly introduce himself as a hunter. Actually, this person, his name is Pranbun. But don't say his name, just call him a hunter. He doesn't really like his name, and don't be surprised by the bullet marks on his right eye. It will be rude. He will always carry a long gun with him, and he is a right-handed person. Therefore, if he introduces himself as Pranbun, or there is no long gun attached, or carry a long gun on your left shoulder, that's not Pranbun. Pick up the knife in the yard to protect yourself. The hunter is very afraid of this knife. It will pull back, but keep an eye on it until it goes out of sight. Soon, the real hunter will come out again. But that person is the real hunter. He will tell the people who are chosen to go up to the tree shop. You can look up and see. It's around there. There will be 2 shops. For both the chosen people and for Pranbun. Notice that the tree trunk that holds the shop well. Which tree has a stake on the trunk? Don't go up to that shop. That is Pranbun's shop. Choose another shop instead. When you go up, don't come down until morning. Oh, try not to disturb Pranbun. He is a quiet person. But if there is a problem, he can help a lot. And if you are close to him, it is good. Do you have to sleep in the mall like this all night? And what if you are afraid of heights? I asked like that. Because I'm afraid of heights and it's better to risk anything on the ground. Uncle said like that. Before telling the next rule. Rule number 5, when it's about 12:30, until 1 o'clock. There is a chance that a hunter will appear before asking permission. Press the button around the tree trunk. Under the maul of the chosen person, the person who survived said, allow that hunter to press the button, and he will take care of the button. Until he prays in the mall all night, don't make a loud noise, it's better for him. When you do that, you will be safe from any danger all night, because in the morning he will leave. Is that hunter a human? I can't help asking. You've heard about this hunter since you were a kid. It's been almost 40 years. Until you are this old, you must have heard the person who survived said that he met that hunter, so you try to think about it. Why would he show up in the same forest for 40 years? The uncle answered back to me thinking. Rule number 6, if that hunter does not appear, during the time between 1 a.m. to 3 a.m., it will be very difficult. In the meantime, the people who survived told me have had different experiences. What I can conclude is, 1. While I was in the mall, suddenly there was a woman's face staring at me from inside the tree hanging in the mall. He said it was the hunter, and I think he just wanted to come out and say hello. That's it, don't have to yell anything, because for a while that face will disappear. 2. While I was in the mall, I might hear a voice saying, "Konkoi, konkoi," or a sound like a monkey, or see a shadow like a monkey, or any animal that has 1 leg, jump to the floor, or kick the tree around it. That's the hunter. Hurry to tell the hunter to use a gun to shoot him as soon as possible. Otherwise, it may suck blood until it becomes a forest ghost. 3. There was a gust of wind. Then I heard the sound of a small whistle before following. By a large shadow that is as high as a tree, there are many bodies that appear. I think that's the ghost hunter. He may just come to ask for food from the area. At the cemetery, who is still eating. But sometimes there are people who say, the hunter will bend down to look. People who are in the mall too. So pick up the trash in the area for them, and the ghosts will leave. 4. There will be a large group walking through the back of the floor. Let's be as quiet as possible. You can just look if you can see the condition of the people in that group. But most importantly, don't make a sound. Don't let them know that they are being watched, because if that group knows that there are people up there, I don't think the hunter can help anything. Better be patient. But they will leave in a while. It's scary, just don't tell. The next rule from now on, and this is the real scary, rule number 7. At 3 o'clock, this is the most dangerous time. At this time, someone will appear. It may be a father, mother, wife, friend, or anyone you know. Come down from the mall for any reason, but don't go down, whether that person will whine. Or no matter how heavy the reason is, throw a match in the yard and tell that person to light the match first, which of course that person will not light the match and will find a reason to whine not to light it. Come here to tell the hunter to shoot that person. No matter who that person is, it's better to die there and the person who went down from that mall. What happened to him? A young man's wife told him while he was in that mall. His wife came in, said that his mother was sick, asked him to hurry down and go home quickly. The young man thought about it. Which woman went into the forest alone, came in the middle of the night to find her husband to go home. The young man who told that story almost missed it. It's good that the hunter helped to warn before throwing the match to him and asked that woman not to light the match. And we'll go down. If that woman can light, that woman did not light the match, and still whined to that young man and come down for a long time. The young man was almost weak, went down many times. After almost an hour, the monk couldn't stand it, so he shot the face of that woman. The woman fell down immediately, and the young man was unconscious and had just jumped down from the mall in time. When he got down, the woman got up and knocked him down once before running into the forest. At the same time, he left the footprints of the giant tiger on the way. Fortunately, the young man lost only one arm. The old man told him before he reached out to pick up a bottle of water in the car to drink to make up for it. All right, rule number 8. At 4 o'clock, the people told me to pay close attention to the floor below. You will see a huntsman staring at the floor below. That is the hunter. He is a friend of the hunter, but it's more dangerous. He will raise a gun and swing it. Between the maul of the chosen one and the maul of the hunter, you can pick up anything close to you here. Throw it behind the hunter to distract him. When the hunter turned and aimed at that moment, he told the hunter to shoot the hunter immediately. When he did that, the hunter would disappear. At the same time, the hunter would disappear as well. I think they've been shooting each other like this for decades, and why don't you just throw it through the wall? Ha 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 ha. Hey man, if you're shooting at the hunter, what if there's a bullet in your face? Won't you just swing the gun that way? The old man laughed. That's true, I think. Rule number 9. If you can make it this far, and it should be about 5 o'clock. But don't just give up, and don't forget that the hunter is no longer helping. When the old man heard that. At this time, the fog in the forest was very thick, that he could barely see anything. And in the middle of that thick fog, there were red eyes staring at him. The man who survived told him to look back at those eyes. Don't look away. Don't show any fear. When he knew that he couldn't be afraid, it would be gone in a moment. Rule number 10. In the morning, he came down from the mall and lit 9 candles, and he thanked the Buddha and brought the dirt he had dug up last night back to the same spot where he had dug up the dirt and cover it up as usual. For a while, there will be a yellow bird flying around. Before he flies forward, let him follow that bird, and he'll be able to get out of the forest, but only the yellow bird. If it's another color, don't follow it, because it will take you deep into the forest. Go to a place you shouldn't go. This time, the old man said until he could help. I'm quiet. After hearing everything the old man said, I don't know when the sound of the rain has disappeared. All that's left is the cool breeze that blows through the car window. While I was going through all 10 rules, the old man destroyed the silence. How is it? Rule 10. I think if I was really chosen to go into that forest, would I be able to do it? The old man asked me with a hoarse voice. I probably can't do it. I've never seen a ghost before. If I met him like that, or if I got in like that, I would have been shocked. I answered like that. I saw with my eyes that the village was not far away. Oh, it's almost there. All right, we've arrived at the village, young man. The old man got up, which was really like that, because as soon as the old man's car drove into the village, many villagers came out to look at the old man's car. Some of them started to walk around the old man's car. What are the villagers doing out here? I asked with surprise. They came out to welcome the young man. Occasionally there would be someone from the big city before parking in front of a house. I opened the car door and found that there were about 15 to 20 villagers. Surrounding me, the villagers are now worried about who will go into the forest, because all the young men and women were taken out of the village to work in the city. They see that if they can't choose, that they will let their daughters go into the forest instead, the old man said by trying to hold his voice before there was a sound to open the car door. And tonight was the night of the month, I was told by 4 to 5 people from that group of villagers to lock me up before pushing me down to the ground. Cough, cough. I coughed because I was a little confused. I began to understand the situation and what I was going to face. Why? Why do I have to be like this? I thought to myself, but I couldn't say it out loud. Due to the pressure of the officers, it was difficult to breathe. While I was trying to resist, the old man stood in front of me, holding a small stick in one hand. In that stick, put a piece of dried flour. Before the old man set the fire to burn the flour. "I'm sorry, young man, please go into the forest today." The old man said that. Before bringing that stick close to my nose, I knew that I had to try to hold my breath, not to smell that flour, but in the end I couldn't hold my breath. And I smelled that smell. It was a very fragrant smell. It was so fragrant that I felt comfortable, but at the same time it made my mind slowly sink. Remember the rule that the old man told you. That was the last sound I heard before I lost my mind. And this is a strange story of Cart to escape from the forest, and on the night of the moon, and I would like to introduce Cart to set up a camp at the beach. Me and 3 other friends are campers. Today is our day off, so we decided to go to the night tent at the beach. We left the car at noon. We planned to set up a camp before anyone else. But we had to be disappointed because every place was already set up. "Oh, there are a lot of people. What are they coming for today? I didn't see anyone the other day," I complained to my friend. "Come on, there must be a tent," the old man replied. Then we drove to find a place. Until it was evening, so we decided to stop by the shop to ask about the tent. "Auntie, is there a tent around here?" I asked the shop owner. "Oh, are you coming to the tent?" "Yes, there is, but I'm not sure if anyone has gone yet." "Where is it?" "Well, keep driving. There will be an alley, left-hand alley. The first alley is always crowded because it is close to the resort. As for the second alley, the fishermen like to go for a drink. And the third alley, not many people go there." "Well, but you can go. There will be a tent inside." "There is a tent. The view is beautiful. But be careful." "Oh, thank you. I'll try to go." So my friend and I drove on the way that Auntie had told us. When we arrived at the first alley, we found that someone was already waiting. So I complained. "Oh, is there anyone else around here?" And the next alley is the second alley. When we met a group of fishermen, they were sitting around drinking. So Auntie went down to ask those people. And we drove on. Auntie told us that there shouldn't be anyone in front of the alley, because from here you can see a little. Uncle told us to be careful. When we arrived at the third alley, the entrance was quite messy. It was about not having many people coming in. The entrance was a little creaky. When we arrived, we found a room in the back, and the beach was wide with stones and tall palm trees. We put our stuff in the room and go to set up a tent camp at the beach, light the grill, and turn on the light for the party. While B was about to bring drinks from the bar to the beach, he came across an old notebook that has a cute line on the cover, like an elementary school notebook. So B read it and bring it to us to see together. "Hey guys, I don't know what kind of notebook I found. Writing nonsense. Writing about rules in a tent camp? Let me see." A answered. "Read it for us." The meaning of the notebook is rule in a tent camp at a public beach. Rule 1. Every time you come to a tent camp, you should set up a fire. Turn on the light. Set up a tent camp before 1 o'clock. And turn on the light all night long. Do not go far from the light. Rule 2. When there is a meal or drinks, you should divide the sand and put it under the tree. No need to light a fire. Just raise your hand and say, "We just came to rest. There may be some noise we don't want to disturb. And thank you for the rest. This is necessary." Rule 3. Communicating in a group. Do not speak or tell ghost stories. And do not challenge. Otherwise, you may not sleep all night. Rule 4. Unloading all the weights and all the bags. Can dig a hole at the beach and cover it up. Remember that you only have to dig a sand hole, because there may be some things to eat what you have left behind. Rule 5. When it's 9 p.m., there will be a boat that closes or turns on the light. Don't be alarmed, that is a fisherman. But if the boat does not have a light to park in front of the beach where you are sitting, I wish everyone to avoid using voice and listen to the sound coming out of the boat. If there is no sound on the boat, you should stay quiet until the boat leaves, because what is on that boat will come to the sound. We don't know what it is. Rule 5.1. If someone is walking, please observe his feet well. Whether his feet are on the ground or not, it may be a bit difficult, but you will see from the pace of his walking. If you find that there are normal walking feet, you can greet. That is Uncle Ray. He is a local who comes to fish every night, and you should send him a drink. He is the one who can help you, and if you find that there are no feet or feet are not on the ground, you should be like him. Pretend not to see. Because if you stare at him, he may come straight to you, when you may see what you don't want to see. Rule 6. Midnight to 2 a.m. At this time, you may find something, wearing a white suit sitting on a rock. Please don't pay attention to it. If you don't want to have a problem, if you hear a sound in the water like something is falling into the water or swimming in the sea, ask you to carry food or drink to that sound will disappear. And at 1 a.m., if you hear a sharp sound, let you look at a single palm tree located on the rock. If you find that there are more than one palm tree, and let you chant the 5-pointed wound, that sound will disappear. That is the old man who has been here for a long time. And he hasn't gone anywhere yet. But it's not dangerous if you follow the rules. Rule 7, time from 3 a.m. to 4 a.m. At this time, you should go to the accommodation. Do not go outside the accommodation. Turn on the light outside. Pack your food. If you can't finish eating, put the food in a corner. Recommended, don't put it near your accommodation if you don't want to see a picture that will make you dream forever. Rule 8, time from 5 a.m. to 1 a.m. It's a time when you're safe. If the situation is quiet all night, you should go to worship under the tree and to thank. Please do it strictly when you finish reading and everyone looks confused. What is this? Who is it? What a long rule. In 4 words. Oh, forget it. Let's do our business first. In A, when 1 p.m., our food and drinks are ready. We started to talk. A, who believes in the Lord, share food and drinks. Part of it, put it under the tree, and we are very drunk. With Mr. C being a drunk and bold. I got up and said, "Hey guys, do you think ghosts really exist? I want to meet." "Ha ha ha ha." Mr. C said in a drunk, Hey, I don't want it either. Just fooling you alone, it's none of my business." In A, when I started walking until 3:13 p.m., I walked to P, and the eyes were left to see a boat passing by. Turn off the light. I hurried back to the group. I told my friends, "Hey guys, do you think that rule is true?" And I don't know, but it's good to hear. I said, how can it be true? There is no ghost. C said, "Hey C, you really have a good mouth. I hope you meet." "Well, why did you ask?" B said, "I saw a boat. Turn off the light. It's coming this way." "According to the rule, isn't it?" I said. "Yeah," B said. "Why don't you try to be quiet?" I said. With closing his mouth, the boat came slowly, coming to us quietly. "Hey guys, be quiet, wait and see," I said. The boat kept coming. As soon as the boat came close, there was a scream. "Hey guys, what are you doing in the dark? Be careful." We breathed out, with anxiety. I thought I would see something strange. "Yes, Uncle, thank you," I screamed, until it was 5 o'clock. Everyone was drunk and fell. There was me. A who was pressing the phone. C would still open his mouth. B was busy with food. And then B saw a shadow walking along the beach. The shadow came closer. When it was close, until the twilight, it turned out that the shadow had a strange pose, walking still. So B closed his eyes, look at others and to see who it was. And when it was close, it was Uncle Lay. The villager who fell into the fish, B asked. Uncle, do you have a lot of fish? Let's have a drink first, so we can catch fish. Oh, the young man was thirsty. Let's have a drink. Uncle, you come every day? But what is your name? B asked. My name is Lay. I come to catch fish every day. I can eat some fish. I can't. Thank you very much. I'm going. Let's find more fish. Yes, uncle. If you are hungry, you can come, I said. Oh, thank you very much. Be careful. After uncle left, not long after. C fell asleep. A came up and said, Hey you, I think it's strange. Huh? What? Me and B looked confused at that notebook. I said, Why? How is it strange? Like that, at a good time like this, it seems to have happened before. Both boats, there are a lot of boats. But if the time is according to the rule, it's just right. Uncle Ray, how does the rule know? I said, Uncle Ray must find fish often, until people remember. And that boat, B said. Be quiet, I said. I saw some things walking by, slowly floating. So I came up and said, Don't look if that rule is true. Everyone raised their faces, ready to look the other way. That shadow slowly floated by. I looked with my eyes, noticed the legs. It turns out that what passed, there are no legs. Uncle A and Uncle B saw at the same time, until that shadow passed, until closing their eyes. Friends and I looked at each other. While Uncle C was sleeping, Uncle A said, Hey, I think it's strange. That rule may be true. And at that time, everyone raised their faces. Anyway, be careful. Let C sleep. The more drunk and lost, we'll be in trouble. Everyone raised their faces, I said. Time passed. Now it's 12:26. Uncle A walked to the toilet, turned his face to the stone. And in the meantime, Uncle A hurried back with an awake look. Hey, what are you? B said. You, crazy. The stone. I think the rule is true. Me and Uncle B turned to look. And the picture in front is there are people dressed in white standing at the stone. We still turned our faces and stayed quiet for a while. Then there was a loud sound of water. Jump, 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 jump. It's like there's a sound. Falling water and swimming. Hey, where's the food? Hey, I found it, I said. Uncle A panicked. Pick up the food and walk to that sound. For a while, the sound was quiet, crazy. Where's the rule book? Come and read. Everyone help each other, I said. And then Uncle B said, I'm dead. I saw Uncle C throw it into the fire, or will the book? Yeah, I'm not sure. I can't find it. It must have burned, I said. Damn. Bad mouth. Burn the book. What the hell? I panicked. Never mind. I remember the next sentence, I said. And then there was a loud scream, and I looked at my watch. It was 2 o'clock. It was 2 o'clock. What should I do? What should I do? I said. I looked at the tree and found that there were 2 more shadows. Hey, you guys, the 5 eyes wound is over, I said. Then my friend and I had an eye wound until the sound was gone. What should I do next? Let's go into the tent and wake up C, I said. After that, everyone went to bed and fell asleep. I felt like I had been sleeping for a long time, but I heard C's voice screaming and wailing. Hey, what is this? Hey, I looked at the clock. It's 3:30 a.m. Everyone heard C's voice, so they came out of the tent and looked at it. It turned out that there was a black shadow sitting on the picnic table and 3 more on the floor. Their bodies were black, long arms and legs, thin skin to see the skin on the bones, with a sharp teeth and very long nails. 2 bright red eyes. I don't know what it is, human or ghost. A monster. It's eating our food that we haven't picked up. After C's voice was over, one of them turned to look at C and walked towards C, ready to raise his arm to grab. But then there was a scream. Hey, you guys stop. Which way did you come from? The black one stopped and turned to look at that voice. "Go, you guys go back. Otherwise I will lock you up so that you will not be born." The black one began to retreat into the forest and disappeared into black smoke. When he turned to look at the voice owner, it was Ray the hunter we met at dusk. In C, he stood shivering. "Uncle, thank you very much. If it weren't for you, we would be in trouble." I said, "Crazy, the rule is real." "Anyway, thank you very much." I said. A and B, along with me, raised their hands to pray. "It's good that you came in time." I was upset, because there was always a whisper in my ear after I walked out of you. That voice said, "Those guys are in trouble. It's a disaster." I and my friends turned to look at C. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's true." C said with a stammer. "I knew it. You're drunk every time you lose your tongue." I said, "Oh, it's over. Never mind. Let's go to the temple in the morning. I'll be with you until morning." "Thank you very much," I said. When the sun rose, everyone packed their things and went home. B asked, "Uncle, do you know about the rules?" "The notebook at the shrine." "Oh, that rule. I wrote it myself. To protect people who don't know like you. Don't be in danger like last night, and I found it by myself when I was still a teenager." "And the secret, or the ghost, Uncle? Is it true?" I asked. "Yes, it is. Otherwise, why would I write it? You've seen that it's true. At first glance, it's a ghost. Sometimes it comes in two. Sometimes it's the only one. Sometimes you don't see it. The white-dressed woman has to climb the rock again. She came to find a shell, walked on the rock and hit her head against the rock. It's been a long time since we've seen each other. I don't know if you've seen that ship. It's a ship that goes out to sea when the storm comes. And then it's gone. And there's a ghost in the water, and the one who's walking along the beach. My friend, he came to see the fish, and at that time it wasn't a good time. He met people who were carrying the body, so he was killed. And the rule that says, if you meet me, you have to give me food. That's what I wrote. Well, I've been looking for fish all night. I'm hungry. I want to eat something. Ha ha ha. You're so good. I'm not afraid. I said, I'm used to it. I'm not afraid. I have good stuff, and let's go home and get some rest. I've been through a lot, and I have to thank you again. I'll see you off. I said, oh good, I was too lazy to walk. My house is right here, and that's the store when I got home. Oh, thank you, Uncle. Thank you, Auntie. Bye-bye, Uncle. Then the car moved out. Auntie, is that so? Ha ha ha, I said, looking at the picture hanging on the wall. Well, on that day, who are they talking to? Even though there's no one in my house. Ha 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 ha. And this is the whole story of Kott's camp at the beach.